It is me. I, the Messiah of. Wait, I forgot my name.
We are the weirdos, mister.
'Cause I won't say goodbye anymore. Oh, hello. It is me. I, Audra, the Messiah of Nonsense, and your unlicensed therapist. Also, a purveyor of dead television. And one day, that video will get out of copyright and you will see it. But today, I'm going to be taking a look at the Rosana, Pansino, Tana Mojo, Trisha Paytas situation. This video will be long. How long, you're asking yourself? Well, you should have time to put your laundry into the wash, take it out of the wash, put it into the dryer, take it out of the dryer, and put it all away. Not me, but y'all be easy out there. So we're going to get started with this. And to get started, before I even look at the video, there's something I need to do. So the first thing I need to do is define context. And context is defined as the circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or idea, and in terms of which it can be fully understood and assessed. Used in a sentence, the decision was taken within the context of planned cuts in spending. Another definition for us is, what is a storyteller? It is a person who tells stories, okay? And some of the 5 best things about a storyteller is that they are a good listener, being patient, having a good sense of timing, and being charismatic. A good storyteller also needs to be able to engage their audience and hold their attention. So now that those definitions have been put out, I would also like to say this. I do understand that Rosana Pansino lost her father, and grief is a hell of an emotion. It is one of the most uncontrollable emotions that we as humans experience. It hits at various times, and it shows up in various ways. One way it can show up is in uncontrollable crying, sobbing, pain. It comes out of nowhere. Sometimes you can look up at the sky and have a sense of peace and happiness in the grief that you have. And other times it can show up in misdirected anger. And as your unlicensed therapist, I do believe that this situation has arisen out of misdirected anger. I do have sympathy for that situation, but also this is out of hand. So for those of you not in the loop, Tana Mojo was talking about her experience on Escape the Night before she could say it was Escape the Night. And Rosana Pansino took a little issue with it and decided to make her own video reacting to it. Now, I'm going to be watching it at 1.25 speed. Hopefully, she will not copyright strike me. I'm watching the whole thing in its entirety with you. And if this is your jam, go on ahead and subscribe and follow. I only had a goal of reaching 13K subscribers. That was it. So I don't have a new goal. Thank all of y'all for subscribing and watching my videos. Also, just a fun side note, I have no idea who Rosana Pansino is. Okay, I only heard her name when this all the Mr. Beast, the takedown of Mr. Beast started, which it didn't work. He didn't get taken down. He's still here making whatever it is he makes. I have not ever seen a Mr. Beast video. I feel like anything I've seen with Mr. Beast, it's like people talking about it. Also, I will be checking out the Jeff Wittick documentary, I think Tuesday. But by the time y'all see this on YouTube, that Tuesday will have passed. So, you know, it is what it is. Let's do the things. Like, I just know, apparently she made cakes, which is cool. And I did watch this video beforehand. I do need to tell you that, which is good, because if I hadn't have, I would be more like very enraged, and I don't want to be like a super mean, angry, like yelling at somebody type ass person. Sorry. The title of her video is Exposing Tana Mojo's Lies About Me and Escape the Night. Now, the reason we're not going to watch the Tana video is because she's going to be watching that in here and reacting to it. So already, I'm just going to tell you, I hate this entire setup that they have. I know that that sounds mean and petty, but I am mean and petty. They're both in white. I don't know who this man is, but he and his shirt are the same color. It's not a dig. It's just, I would have chosen a different color. That is her husband. Oh, because opposites attract. 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. Because she looks warm and he looks cold, even though it looks like they're somewhere warm. And apparently she calls her people little rebels. Ugh, I just don't even want to press play. Like there's something it's already about to start to piss me off. Here we go.
Welcome back to Ridiculous. This episode is going to be a little bit different. One, I'm hanging out with Mike, my boo of many, many years. We've been together for like over a decade. And
even when I'm with my boo, ooh, all I think about is you. Sorry, I have ADHD.
Two, you'll notice I'm not at home in our film studio. We are invited here for a very special charity event that's raising money for the LA.
I'm glad that you're doing that for the LA fires. Why couldn't you put on clothes is what I'm asking. I want to know why you couldn't put on clothes. He has on clothes-ish. I don't know why she had to be in a robe. It's a choice.
LA fires, people who have been affected by the LA fires, and it was a little bit of a last minute trip. We got invited last minute. It was really exciting, and I've
changed my mind. We're gonna do 1.5. I also have the subtitles, so don't panic. Don't panic.
Set the stage. I'm having the time of my life. I have never had this much fun. I've never been on an island this beautiful.
And I do apologize if the audio isn't great. We weren't planning to film something like this, so we're literally just using what we have, and we're sitting outside in nature, essentially. So
yes, and people are chopping palm trees, and they're feeding iguanas. And
they're installing a water heater.
I don't need any of this. Like, this is irritating. I don't need to know about all the things that all these people are doing. Can we go?
Right over here.
There's tortoises, 100 flamingos here, 4 kangaroos.
And I don't have all my audio equipment, so there might be a buzz, but we're going to work with what we got.
Today's subject, I guess, is a little bit difficult for me because, Mike, do you want to explain? I don't even know how to. I'm genuinely confused. And
so right before we left, a bunch of people were sending Ro basically the clips from 3 different podcasts. And essentially what the clips are is Tana basically shit-talking Escape the Night and also throwing crazy amount of shade at Ro for no reason that I can discern.
I don't understand it. I've always been cool with her, loved on her,
literally don't know where that's coming from.
Been kind to her. I don't judge her for anything. That's what's shocking to me, I think, because it's just confusing.
I feel like she...
Just like one more little question. Did she say anything about the husband? Why is he here? The partner? Why is he here? Why are you in it? I'm confused. Because listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I have a romantic partner and they're getting involved in my drama, we're not gonna be together. It's gonna be like immediate. I'm not even kidding. I'll be like, get the fuck out of here. Please leave me alone. Don't do this. First of all, if I'm ever in a situation where like I bring my romantic partner on camera after I've repeatedly said like that's not something I'm into, I am in danger. Thank you. Send help. What? I just think that it's weird that he's here. This is a cat fight. No dogs allowed.
You just kind of use your name to essentially have a piece of content. And I think they were even saying in a recent podcast that drama is slow right now. So, I don't know why they threw Ro under the bus in a way, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to show the clips.
Business is slow, so just run me over.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will...
That kind of sucks. I'm just going to say this again because I know she's been through a lot of bad decisions, and I've never judged her. I've actually...
You did, though. I'm going to just say this right up front because I have watched this before. I'm going to keep reiterating that. Also, another fun side note, let me just bring you up to my big ass face. If you see a comment from me within like the first 4 hours, the first 4 to 5 hours that a video is up, I am commenting from my route at work. I'm usually taking like a water or snack break. So if things are spelled funny or it doesn't look perfect or it's not a finished sentence, give me some grace, please. I'm literally working. Merci. I'm gonna say this though, when you support someone, you support them. If you do. I can already tell from her saying like her bad decisions, you don't support her. Outwardly you support her, but you judge the fuck out of her behind her back. Okay, thank you. I know, we can smell our own, thank you.
Defended her in private with my own friends. Like when they would start to talk poorly about Tana, I would stop them and stand up for her. And so this really got me off guard, but it is what it is.
Because you probably have some of the same friends. I'm not saying that to be shitty. I'm just saying when you have kind of like the same YouTube friend group or friend group in general, even if you don't like somebody, you'll sometimes defend them because of the fact that like you have the same friend group. So you don't want to be caught. Oh, I'm saying bad shit about so-and-so. You don't want to be caught with it. So you defend so that you keep your name out of the mess. As a bitch who judges, this bitch judges, and I notice this miles away. Yeah, she definitely does judge. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all judge. I listen and I judge, both things.
So yeah, we watched the clips on the plane. It was hard to watch. And I think what I got frustrated about is the over-exaggeration about Escape the Night and the falsehoods that she has repeated it time and time and time
again. It's like, when
again.
does exaggeration become lying? And I think you'll see...
It tip.
Yeah, to me, it comes off as lying. Some people say it's just exaggerating. but I think Tana does have a history of both exaggerating but also making up things that didn't happen and getting called out for it. It seems to me like it's kind of a repeat of that pattern, but we'll curious to see what other people think.
Yeah, me too, because I'm confused. So leave your comments and thoughts down below.
Yeah.
And we're going to get through this. I think it's something that really does need to be addressed because I made a promise to myself to stand up for myself. So let's watch these clips and we're going to go over what really happened on set. While Mike's plugging that in, I'm going to intro this. This is the first clip that we're going to watch is from episode 107 from the Canceled podcast, and it has Tana, her co-host Brooke, and Paige. And I actually met Paige on the set of Escape the Night.
Yeah.
And when I met her, she was very kind to my face. All right, let's play the clip.
Hit me up to be a part of this project, right? And I'm not going to say who, like in hopes to keep the identity of all of this concealed, but I'm sure people will find out.
Okay, can I just say that this is like Inception squared? Like, this is amazing. Like, I'm over here in the circle, and then you have them, and then I'm watching them watching her. It's like, oh, watching you, watching me.
If people find out, if you do find out.
So she's keeping the identity anonymous, is what she's saying.
But it's kind of like also saying, after you watch the whole thing, it's kind of like, no, I've got a story. It's about the CEO of Amazon.
We're
But
not
I'm
gonna use any
not
names.
going to say his name because
Pause. Let me just explain a fun fact. One of the things that it seems that they've left out from everything that I have seen so far, I feel like I missed like the last 30 minutes of the video, so that will be new to me as well. But they're missing the fact that when Tana was talking about this on the Canceled podcast, Escape the Night had not yet been announced. It wasn't a thing yet. When she was talking about it at that time, she wasn't trying to name names and do all of that. Keep that in mind as you go forward, because at that time it had not been announced that it was coming back. Now I've never seen nary an episode of Escape the Night. I don't know what it is. And if I'm gonna be real honest with you, I don't care. I'm good to never see Escape the Night.
We don't want people figuring it
we
out.
don't want people to figure out his identity. But if you figure it out, don't go send him hate.
Yeah, I'm going to say this to several million people, and I'm sure no one is going to go figure it out and post about it.
No, and I'm not going to say very specific things that identify everything.
And I think they say the name later anyway, so,
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Don't go send hate because this isn't anyone that you would know's fault. You know what I mean? Like I really want to, like the person who I did this project with and for, like I love so much. So I feel like even guilty, like associating this like with his name and with his whatever. And I've debated telling the story on the podcast all week, but like I just fucking hate men and I cannot believe this happened to me. Like, so whatever, I'm going to tell it.
I don't know. That seems a weird way to start a story for me.
I think she's been hurt a lot by men. I have as well. I have my own.
Listen here, Nordic King. You all started the story off weird. Actually, you started this whole ridiculous podcast off weird. Again, Escape the Night hasn't been announced. She's just talking.
Traumas, but I don't hate all of a gender. It's just a pretty harsh statement. I don't hate any sex. I don't hate women. I don't hate men. I don't like people.
Rosana, not you out here trying to not all men a comment. The pick me detector. You've been picked. It's fine. Like you can chill the fuck out. Wow. Okay. You could wait until you finish your spa treatment to film. Towels are not needed to make your point. Yeah, it's really wild.
People who are mean.
Yeah, we don't like certain people, but to just say you hate 50% of the population and you're trying to tell a story as if it's not biased, I don't know. I think it throws the bias out the window before she's even told the story.
It has nothing to do with the person who put on this project. Anyways, so yes, I agreed to this project months ago, and it's one of those things where I'm like, the fans will really love it, very nostalgic, like it's for a niche group of people, but like...
I'm gonna stop right there and say it's for a niche group of people. In another interview, she says that it's billboards everywhere, it's a mainstream show. So in 2 different videos, she said it's mainstream.
This is what we like to call semantics. Semantics is the branch of linguistics and logic concerned with meaning. There are a number of branches and sub-branches of semantics, including formal semantics, which studies the logical aspects of meaning, such as sense, reference, implication, and logical form. Lexical semantics, which studies word meanings and word relations, and conceptual semantics, which studies the cognitive structure of meaning. Now, I did just tell y'all, I have never seen Escape the Night. In fact, the first time I even heard that Escape the Night existed was because Gabby Hanna just went way off the wagon, all right, and started apologizing for stuff. And that's how I heard about Escape the Night. It still has not given me any reason to try to check it out. So the semantics here is that Escape the Night is niche. A lot of people don't know it, haven't seen it, don't know what it's about. I wouldn't be surprised if there are actually people who watch this video who have never seen an episode of Escape the Night, didn't know it existed. A lot of people don't even know that YouTube Red was a thing. And as Feffy said, YouTube is super famous. YouTube is still not mainstream. That part. A lot of these people on YouTube are super famous. but they're not mainstream.
When she's expressing gratitude for the project, and then when she's shitting on it, she calls it niche and little, like she's bigger and
belittling it.
like better than it. And an old friend hits her up to be in it, and she kind of is giving off the impression how she's speaking about it, the tone, the manner is that like she's doing the project out of charity, sympathy, like I'm doing him a favor.
And this is why I gave you the definition of context. In this example here, Rosana appears to have added her own context to it. And let me just say, I'm very annoyed, irritated, angry even, because Rosana Pansino has me out here looking like a dick writer for Tana Mojo, and I don't appreciate that. You really could have sat in a corner and ate your food. And we'll get there. But you really should have just sat in a corner and ate your food. Maybe sent a text message, been like, hey Tana, I didn't appreciate this. But the context with which Rosana is creating is not what I'm seeing there. And if y'all are seeing it, let me know. It, to me, feels like she's trying to talk about a situation that has not yet been announced by trying to dance around what it is and who it's put on by. Like it hasn't been announced, so she can't just be like, so I was filming for Escape the Night. So instead, she has to do all the dancing around of the subject so that people don't know that she's talking about Escape the Night, especially if she knew that this podcast would come out before the announcement that Escape the Night was back, which it did.
She knew about it months in advance.
Months in advance.
Right, so this is not last minute, it's months in advance.
Plenty of time to plan a 2-day shoot.
And prepare and be a professional.
But like, I'm gonna do it and just like be a good friend and whatever.
So keep in mind, she's saying, I'm going to be a good friend.
I'm gonna be a good friend, and then I'm gonna go on a rage rant right here, and I'm gonna complain about everything in the production. I'm gonna over-exaggerate, I'm gonna lie about it, because I'm such a good friend. Also, I just want to clarify for everyone listening that this project filmed over 2 full days. Tana only filmed 1 day. Not only 1 day, but a half day. I think she was on set for maybe 6.5 hours. It was around there. I'll let Joey or the production team figure that out. She left.
Is Tana an actress? Is she regularly on production sets to film shows? Somebody let me know. Is she regularly doing that for others? Does she consider Joey Graceffa a friend with which she's going to be a good friend and join the project that he'd asked her to join? You know, I'm just asking these questions.
Before anyone else. I stayed hours and hours afterwards, so did everybody else. She did the least amount of work on this project. She had the shortest time on set, and she complained the most.
I listened and I judged harshly. She complained the most. She didn't do any work. She was just a lazy bitch the entire time she was there. Girl, she didn't call her a lazy bitch, but that's the art of storytelling. You just add.
Yeah.
She was in a bad mood all day, negative, unprofessional, and I didn't want to say that to her because I know people have bad days, but when you're a professional, you leave your shit at the door when you walk on a...
If she says professional one more time, I did go look at her IMDb and like, okay.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
That was perfect. I looked at her IMDb and okay. I'm not trying to, but like, I have also been on a film set or two. It's not a big deal. Like a lot of people have.
On a set, when you go to work, you leave your shit on a door, and that's called compartmentalizing, and it's a maturity thing, and I just hope she keeps...
Also, that's actually not true. Like, yes, you can compartmentalize, but as your unlicensed therapist, I would also urge you to understand that there are, in fact, some situations that make it difficult for you to compartmentalize, i.e. lack of sleep. That's a thing that makes it hard for you to compartmentalize. Grief is difficult to compartmentalize. This is the problem with professional atmospheres in general, is that we are all human beings and there's only so much stuffing and compartmentalizing one can do. We all go to work as humans, and there are times when the things that are happening in your life can't be left at the door. It'd be nice if you could do it, but we can't. And most people's compartmentalization when they walk into a professional setting, as she likes to keep saying, is generally to like not really speak to other people or avoid everyone. Unfortunately, this is a film set, so she can't do that. But a lot of us just go to work. We just don't talk to anybody. That is our form of compartmentalizing, because if you even start speaking, you might end up talking about this thing that's upsetting you. Compartmentalization is not actually that healthy also, because if you keep putting things in boxes with which to deal with later never comes for a lot of us. And sometimes that later just sneaks up on you anyway. The box just pops open like a jack in a box and you have no control over the emotions anymore.
Working on it.
the night before I get my call time, and it's 9 a.m. downtown Los Angeles. I need to be there full glam.
She starts off by complaining about the call time. The call time is at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Also, I just would like to state that Rosana keeps using the term complain, and I don't think that this is a complaint. The reason I brought you the storyteller definition and what makes a good storyteller is because of all the things that Tana can do. All the bad things that she's done, some of which I do give grace for because she was not old enough to be doing the things that she was doing, and nobody was around her to tell her, hey, maybe you should not do that. Especially growing up in the public eye the way she did and not really having a good familial support system. That being said, there is one thing about Tana that I will always respect is that the girl has hustle. I respect the fuck out of her hustle. She works her ass off to get her shit where it is now. She could just be another YouTube personality who once was, but she has the Cancel podcast, which gets hundreds of thousands of views. She's on other podcasts, and every time she's on somebody else's podcast, that particular podcast experiences a bump in views. And it is because Tana is a phenomenal storyteller. She just is. When I heard this, the first time I heard her telling this story, and I'm saying I heard it, I was listening to the Do We Know Them podcast, and I heard her telling the story. And I've got to tell you, every single time Tana starts telling a story, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. I don't even like Tana like that. But when she starts telling a story, I'm locked in because she just like grips you with the way that she's telling the story. It's engaging, it's entertaining. She does the right vocal changes and pitches. You want to know what happened. But at no point does it sound like, to me, she's complaining. It sounds like she's telling a story in a fun way. Like, it doesn't feel like she's like, oh my God. And then they wanted me to be there at 9 a.m. This sounds like somebody who is telling you a story like a storyteller would. This is her podcast. Who wants to listen to her podcast where she's like, so I get the call time, and we saw that. That was Tati and that other lady, Michelle Pham. You know what I'm talking about.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of an idiot.
Michelle Phan? Is that it? Say yes. That's what you get. It's like two people just like, yeah, okay, yeah, it was really nice. Do you know those like old SNL NPR sketches?
Hello. I'm Margaret Jo McCullough.
And I'm Terry Rialto.
That's not entertaining.
And you're listening to The Delicious Dish.
That's why it was so funny.
Every year for one day, we celebrate and say thank you to dietary fiber.
Tana tells stories, and the reasons that she is successful the way that she is because she tells stories in a way that makes you want to hear the entirety of the story. Now here comes Rosana.
Which is a luxury on most sets.
That's like a dream.
That is sleeping in. I've been on so many sets, Disney, Nickelodeon, NCIS. I could go on. Glee for 2 years.
Well,
I worked on Glee for 2 years.
She had to wake up at 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
every day.
Yep, every day. So 9 a.m. is not an early call time. That is a sleep in for
like
any actor.
For any job. 9 a.m. is
For an actor. Tana's not an actor. Tana's doing Escape the Night this one time. For you, it's not early.
I can't.
Like any full-time job, like that salary, 9 a.m. is the standard
time. The way
time.
she says it too, the dramatic.
The call time was 9 a.m.
9 a.m. and it's downtown Los Angeles.
Which, a quick reminder, this was filmed on a weekend, so you'll see her complain about Los Angeles a million times. It's on a weekend, there's no traffic, and you agreed to do it. And so just the way—
I'm so sorry. Yes, there is. I lived in Los Angeles for 5 years. There's never a time when there's not traffic in that bitch. Especially in the daytime, even on the weekend. The 105? 405? Now, I might be getting my freeways mixed up because I do live in Texas. But like, there's not really a time getting into LA where there's not traffic. I don't understand why she's making a big deal out of this. Like, girl.
The way it was 9 a.m. in downtown LA, like she's going into a war zone. And it's like 12 hours away. You knew about this months in advance. The call time is later than 90%. We're off to a very rocky start already.
Yeah, and they want her to come with some makeup on her face.
Yeah,
so
which is also pretty standard.
We're asking a lot here of Tana.
Yeah.
I need to be downtown in Los Angeles at 9 a.m. full glam. That's like an hour.
Just like everyone else who works in LA.
Just like anyone in the world working.
I can't. This is literally the easiest shoot outline ever. It's a great location on the weekend at a late call time of 9 a.m. I'll see if I have the call sheet while you.
Okay, yeah, Mike, you look up the call sheet. I'm going to continue with
We don't need the call sheet. I need y'all to stop this. Like, this is the bitchiest bitch of bitch eating crackers I've like literally ever seen. I haven't seen anything like this in a long time.
Complaints.
You got an hour away,
honestly.
No, I went to bed, per usual, just insomnia. I'm always going to go to bed late. I went to bed at like 4 and literally woke up at like 6:30. Like, I got 2.5 hours of sleep. I wake up, I do the glam. We're on our way.
When you're a working professional and you know that you have a big shoot coming up and maybe you know that you have a hard time sleeping, that's your responsibility to get enough hours of sleep before your gig. Like that's on you as an adult, as a working adult professional.
Later in the clip, you'll see them complaining about, in their opinion, people are being unprofessional, except Tana's literally the
Hi. You keep using the term professional, and I don't think it means what you think it means. But also, I fear you skipped over the part where Tana said she has insomnia, and I don't know what you know about insomnia. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe you just don't understand insomnia, but I have insomnia from various things, mostly my neurodivergence. ADHD, autism keeps my brain constantly moving. So it's actually very difficult sometimes to like fall asleep. It's one of the reasons why recently I've just been coming home and playing Fortnite for anywhere between like 3 and 4 hours to help me just like make my brain tired enough to like not function so I can just go to bed. But insomnia isn't something that you can just decide like, oh, I've got a job interview, so I'm going to go to bed early. All my insomniacs in the comments, stand up, please. It doesn't matter if you try to get in the bed at 7 p.m. You're not going to go to sleep. It's well known Tana has insomnia and that has messed up her sleep cycle. Yes, it's not her being unprofessional. Insomnia is not something that you just decide, oh, it's gone now. If she's a smart insomniac, she also isn't going to take a sleep aid before she has to be somewhere. Because fun fact about insomniacs and sleep aids is if you need to be somewhere the next day, it's really a terrible idea for you to take a sleep aid because you haven't been able to sleep. And so you may not wake up. You may be thinking to yourself, oh no, it'll be fine. You may not. Sleep aids like drop you into the deepest depths of sleep that you've ever been in. Or the sleep aid doesn't knock you out and you basically end up in psychosis. Yeah. Also, even if you don't have insomnia, if you fuck up your sleep cycle, it's a bitch to fix. That part. Like the less sleep that you get, the more that you start to like hallucinate and shit. It's wild. It's wild. We'll get there.
definition of unprofessional, where you have months to plan your schedule around getting up. Maybe she has to get up at 6, maybe at 7, but you have months to plan for that.
I always just assume it's an early morning call time.
Always.
Whew, we're gonna take a quick break right here.
Oh, no, you don't. So a fun thing I'm gonna do, because this video is rammed full of it's like just crammed full of them. It's a clown car of sponsorships. So I thought I would take this opportunity to do unsponsorships because I think that that would be fun. And I'm a monster and I can't be stopped. So this portion of the video is not sponsored by Topo Chico, with lime or without. It's refreshing, it's delicious, and it quenches your thirst.
So right here, she's already starting to be unprofessional. Say you have a customer service job where you have to be on and happy and supportive and helping the customers all day. If you have to do that on like 2 hours of sleep, you're going to be grumpy.
Yeah.
And so you're already setting yourself up to be grumpy around other people who are working.
Newsflash, Richie Rich. That's happening every day. It's why there's like been multiple conversations of people who work in service who are tired of having to pretend like they're in a fucking good mood so that they can do whatever it is that you want them to do. That's the point. People who work in service every single day would tell you, like, this is why they had the whole conversation about they don't want you to fucking talk to them when you're checking out your groceries. Not everybody, but a lot of people are like, I don't give a fuck about your life or your stories. I'm here to get my check. I don't get paid enough to like listen to you dump your life story on me because we're in proximity. And a lot of these people also, just in case you didn't know, are working more than one job. So they are often short on sleep, which is also contributing to their grumpy behavior. So I just leave people the fuck alone. I follow their lead. If they want to chat with me, then I will chat with them. But if they're just doing their thing, then that's fine. If you're a plebeian and you work in retail, like, you have to be nice to me. Otherwise, I'm not going to give you a tip.
Working, and that is 100% on her. She could have very well planned getting a full night's rest, and she chose not to.
It is your responsibility to come to set ready to work.
I do the glam. We're on our way. And even just in the car, I like can't feel my hands. Like, you know, when you're just so fucking, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to be at a 12-hour shoot all day. Like, trying to serve.
Okay, so she said she's about to be at a 12-hour shoot all day. Everyone else worked a full day on set. Tana did not. Tana was...
Another bitch eating crackers moment. As far as Tana is aware from your magical call sheet, it's a 12-hour day. As far as she's aware, it's going to be a 12-hour day. So she's telling the story from her point of view.
around again 6.5 hours.
And one thing I want to say too is Tana has filmed Escape the night before. And so she knows exactly what she's signing up for. This is even easier. It's during the day, on a weekend, at a very normal time. And a lot of her stories are acting like she doesn't know what to expect. But the way Joey shot this Escape the night was very similar, if not way easier than previous ones. So why are her hands going numb? Is it from the lack of sleep? Is it from the stress that she agreed to sign up for? I don't understand why her hands are numb. That kind of sounds like an actual medical issue. It's very odd. I've never heard someone say their hands go numb.
No, I would go to the doctor immediately.
Trying to serve and give and slay and have a personality, and like I can't feel my hands. And so we get there, and then I'm getting styled, I'm getting dressed, and I always say this, like, are you ever really serving if you're not in a little bit of pain? So per usual, it's just one of those things where I'm like corseted, tits up to my neck, like kitten heel, whole nine. I have to be like running around in all of this. I'm so uncomfortable. It's like 9:30 in the morning. There's all of these other characters there as well. I don't want to like say all the people. Let's just say I walk into like characters screaming.
So Tana arrives to set, and she said she walks into the room to all these characters. Tana, I love you, but you are a character.
Everyone there had been
Rosana, again, this is where context matters. She's filming this and talking about it before Escape the Night has been announced. She's not name calling anybody. You heard her say it. She literally said like, well, let's just say characters. There's all these characters around. She's trying to talk about Escape the Night without saying it's fucking Escape the Night. She knows she's a character. I'm literal, but even I caught this. Like, girl. Also, can he just like not listen? Can we just do a thing where when men are sitting the way that men sit and they're like spread, can we move the camera up? I don't like my eyes being at level with your crotch is what I'm saying. Like, I don't like the crotch being in my purview. These people are
been on Escape the night before except one person. So I don't know, it's just very weird to call them characters as if there's some big surprise. Like, she's met all these people. She knows, I believe, every person there except for maybe one, I'm not sure, but it's just like it's the same people. And I feel like being like it's a bunch of characters is like so degrading. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she's just trying to be shady, and in another clip she says random characters.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
I just need to rewind it just so that we can fucking hear what she says. I'm not the smartest every day, but I'm the smartest some days, and today is kind of one of those days, so.
In all of this, I'm so uncomfortable. It's like 9:30 in the morning. There's all of these other characters there as well. I don't want to like say all the people. Let's just say I walk into like characters screaming.
What she's doing there, if you're paying attention, is talking about the fact that people are in their outfits and characters and like all the stuff that they're supposed to be wearing to be in Escape the Night. She wasn't trying to degrade anybody. When we're talking about context, Rosana is throughout this entire video does a very good job of just adding fake context that was never there.
I think in her opinion, she wanted to see more famous people in the room, and so she's being very judgmental and high and mighty.
And I think it's either this podcast or an episode around it where she's talking about how she's going to a big celebrity party and she's disappointed that there aren't more famous people there.
Yeah, she said the most known person was David Dobrik.
And it just shows like.
I skipped ahead because like honestly, these people are like fucking pissing me off. I skipped ahead just like a little bit. They're over here trying to judge Tana on whether or not she wants to be around a lot of famous people. Who gives a fuck, honestly? Like, if that's her bag, what does that matter to you? Why are y'all like this? Just get ready for your fucking event or whatever it is you're doing. Put on some clothes, please.
She goes to a party and then just looks around the room for the most famous person.
Yeah, I think it's a different mindset for sure.
Fame chasing.
Yeah.
Versus you're there for the work. You're there.
That's rich. Calling her a fame chaser, when this entire video should have been an email or a text message or WhatsApp note or whatever it is that y'all do when y'all chat with one another. It could have been a voice note. And I'm just saying that like your Mr. Beast footage got like a lot of people paying attention to you. Listen, everybody does this because like there's money involved, right? Once you're monetized, there's money involved. And if you've fallen off or whatever, you're trying to, you know, get your fame back, and that's fine. But like, why are we in it? What did we do to be involved in this? But what did we do right? Because listen, as mean as this is, it's delicious. I do love other people's mess. Always have, always will.
Because you want to storytell, you want to support your friend, you love being on set, you love making things. I don't want to be here, but I will because it's Joey.
Yeah,
and
I know.
There's no famous people here. And I'm like...
And I remember hearing too, for the intro, I mean, you'll see it when the show's out, but when they're filming each individual person's intro, they just have to do this little hop. And you'll see it in the edit. It's like
you get sucked into something.
Yeah, you get sucked in.
Oh, that was a spot.
I don't know, don't follow us. And that's literally all I have to do. It's a tiny little hop. Like, not even like a jump, but just like a little hop. And literally I remember hearing that she refused to even just do the little hop. So she's already like, no sleep, looking down on people, and refusing to do the basic acting. And in her mind, she's doing this huge favor to Joey.
I had a YouTuber come up to me and tell me that they're like at 9:30 in the morning.
Can we also say that he's just like throwing around hearsay? Like, oh, I heard she refused to do this thing. Y'all are out here trying to expose lies, right? Expose her lies. You're just saying hearsay. You're like, I heard she refused to do this thing. Well, we'll find out, I guess, whenever Escape the Night is out. I don't know if it's out. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm so sorry.
Fully ready, like in a fucking gown. And I'm having a YouTuber tell me that their parent just passed away and they turned their ashes into marijuana and then they smoked their parent. And I'm like, it's 9:30 in the morning and I'm downtown and this YouTuber is telling me about how they smoked their dead parent.
Is that against the law? Okay, let's just stop here.
It's a lot to digest. I wonder what she's talking about, Rosana. Do you have any idea?
Let us for sure stop here, because that is why all of this has happened. When I talked about grief earlier, I talked about how like it can hit you in a multitude of different ways. And one of them is misdirected anger. And when somebody says anything about a loved one that has passed, because like that's a hole in your life that will never be filled. The pain will never go away. It lessens over time, but there's also going to be times where it will hit you full force. There's nothing you can do about it. It can be 17 years later and it can still randomly hit you full force for no reason. In this, I understand that she was taken aback by the cavalier way in which Tana referenced this situation. Now, Rosanna's going to go into it in more detail in a second here. I can't understand why she was taken aback by the cavalier way with which Tana referred to this whole thing. I can understand that. What I can't understand is making an hour and 40-minute long video to tear someone else down because you were upset at how they referred to the way in which you honored your father's passing. You maybe should have taken a breath. And our Nordic king should have been supportive enough and helpful enough in your grief to say, hey, maybe we should take a breath. Maybe we don't need to respond to this, but he's a messy bitch. And so he's deeply invested in making this video. Make no mistake, he's happy to be sitting here throwing stones, because like, I can't imagine anybody I'm dating wanting to sit next to me and do this shit. You know what I mean? They're not gonna do it. They would not enjoy it. This is what it really all boils down to. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say that now. It boils down to the reason that Rosana is upset is because Tana very carelessly spoke about how Rosana chose to honor her father's passing. And Tana should not have done that. I do understand the way in which she is trying to discuss this so that she's not necessarily saying Rosana's name. I don't think she was maliciously trying to be like some YouTuber. In storytelling, what she's trying to do here is omit names, not say it's Escape the Night, keep the story engaging without having to say everybody's name. And this isn't a defense. This is how storytelling is, whether you liked it or not. Also really hitting home, driving home. I've only had 2 hours of sleep. My hands are like fucking numb, because if you don't get a lot of sleep, there's like a lot of different physiological situations that happen. I've had my legs hurt, my hips hurt from not getting enough sleep. I have had my hands be numb before when I don't get a lot of sleep. They like just kind of stop working. It's really weird. I've been a person who's done that and I forgot that, because it used to be something I used to tell Em about. I used to be like, oh yeah, my hands are doing that thing where they don't really work. Like I can't grab stuff for a little bit because I'm not getting enough sleep. And so she's driving home. I didn't get enough sleep. I'm at the shoot. There's just a lot being thrown at me. And it's like, I can't really deal with it, but I'm trying to for the sake of like doing this shoot. But she's setting the stage for everything that's going to take place. That's how you tell a story. You set the stage. So we are only 16 minutes into this. I'm going to try not to watch like all of it. I'm going to try to like skip into some of the parts, because otherwise we will be here for an eternity. And I just don't have time for this bitch eating crackers situation. You only need like 30 minutes of this in general just to see how much she's like picking at literally every breath that Tana takes. And that's the thing. I don't want to criticize her grief. I want her to be able to experience that. And you have a right to be sad. And you have a right to be upset that she discussed this so cavalierly, so carelessly. But this guy, this messy man here, my partners in life would not allow me to go this direction. She's creating the problem because now her grief is hurting other people, which is the one rule. Exactly. Girly Pop, I'm gonna need you to just relax for a second.
Well, she's not going to give any spoilers that she's working with me because there's so many YouTubers out there that have honored their dad's wishes.
I keep track of so many.
There's so many out there.
Yes, this is where she starts essentially just attacking Ro. And that's not how the conversation went.
I am so confused because, this is not how the conversation went. Mike was there.
I heard the whole conversation.
So I just, I don't understand. When she showed up, I gave her a hug. I noticed she was a little moody. I thought maybe she needed a cup of coffee or something, so I just went over and snuggled with Mike. Later, when she looked to be a little bit more awake and in a better mood, I gave her another hug and I told her that I really liked her new podcast with Trish, Not Loveline, because I've really been enjoying it. I think it's so funny. I think it's just brilliant to take Loveline and then reverse it and do Not Loveline. It flips it on its head, and I just got a huge kick out of that. And I was telling her how cool I thought that was, and she said thank you, and I told her about my podcast coming out, and I really made an effort to tell all of my family and friends that my first episode of my podcast was going to be a little bit different. I really tried to warn people. I didn't want to shock them, and I really wanted to tell them face to face if I could. Some friends I had to text, but I really tried to just let people know my heart, because I know that my dad's request was unique and unconventional, but I just really wanted people to hear it from me. So I did tell her, and at the time on set, she said that was a slay.
She loved that you're speaking up,
and talking my shit,
and talking your shit. And she would love to have you on the podcast to talk about it. She said she'd love to smoke with you.
And I told her that I now make brownies with cannabis, and I call them bougie brownies because they're made with all organic, very expensive ingredients.
I was saying that you're so badass, and was inviting her on the podcast the 5th time.
So my question is, what in the statement of some YouTubers telling me that they just smoked their dad is saying that she doesn't mean any of the things that she just said here, that they're saying that she said? She said that very carelessly and callously. I truly don't think she meant that to be mean and hateful. I don't think that was her intent. Intent versus impact, got it, but sometimes I don't like that because her intent wasn't, from what I can tell, to harm Rosana. She's telling the story, she's being engaging, and I do think that her just trying to mention it off to the side, like the way that she mentioned it, carelessly, with very little thought to how this could impact Rosana. But I think her intent was to not really be saying the names of people and to keep expressing all of these wild things that are happening around her while she's exhausted. She has 2 hours of sleep, She's building up the story. I don't think she intended that. But the impact is that Rosana was hurt. Now, Rosana, being the professional she is, could have easily professionally contacted Tana so we wouldn't be here today in all this mess, listening to her and her Nordic king doing all this.
But it's never actually an invite. I think she says it to be nice, but never actually invites you.
Oh, now that you say that.
Oh yeah, she's been saying it for a year.
I did not put that together.
Do you see what I'm saying about this messy ass man? Please. He's out here giving her a complex. For real. The man is messy as shit. She's just saying that to be nice. She's been saying that for a year. I would also just, again, Tana is booked and busy. This is why I'm mad, because I don't want to be out here looking like I'm riding, fucking Tana's meat. Although if I'm going to dick ride, at least it's on a woman, so that's fine. But the thing is, she's been booked and busy. She's on multiple different people's podcasts. And if she's asked you and she's been like, oh, you should be on my podcast, what the fuck is wrong with you just reaching up being like, hey, just reminder. It's not hard. I thought you were professional. Damn, that was a little untoward. Like a river, shut your mouth and run me like a river. Why is it always the girls? Every time somebody's like, oh, I'm a girl, I'm like, you're a mean ass bitch, aren't you? All right, let's get back into this actual nightmare. And I would also say, as an unlicensed therapist, if your romantic partner helps to light a fire underneath your inability to calmly and rationally handle situations, you should maybe reconsider them. Because look how delighted he is to be involved in this. Just delighted. The smile on his face is telling.
Together tell Justin, that's hitting me. Okay. All right, well, I'll take that. I'm gonna let that digest. I'm gonna take a...
Oh, we're not gonna be watching her sponsors. So I'm gonna do my unsponsor. Hi, this part of the video is not sponsored by this mug. This little creature has adapted to the crushing pressure and oppressive darkness. It holds coffee. And any other beverage you would like it to hold. Thanks, little creature. I'm going to hell. I like how she's utilizing a terrible brand so that she can take down another woman.
And then just when she's saying and some YouTubers talking about how they smoke their dead parent, it's so degrading because Ro has literally filmed an entire season of A Safe Night with Tana, and I just feel like it's very degrading to just say, oh, you're some YouTuber. And I think it's very intentional, and it's just mean.
It felt mean when I'm watching.
It was intentional. It wasn't mean. I'm gonna keep saying this, and I know people are gonna get tired of it, but I can't help it because facts sometimes do matter. But the fact is that when she was filming this Escape the Night had not been announced. And so even if people did manage to figure out that she was talking about Escape the Night, her hope was that they wouldn't know all of the people who are gonna be on the show by her telling her story. Okay.
It just felt really judgy.
Yeah, and then Brooke says, isn't that illegal? Which keep in mind, Brooke does not like Ro.
Right, yeah. Brooke doesn't like me because on my podcast, I had my friend Tila Dunn on, who's an actress, and on the podcast, Tila brought up Brooke, her racist posts that resurfaced or something, and Tila said that it really disappointed her. And I said, yeah, it's disappointing.
Every time Brooke mentions Ro, you can tell
her face just scowls.
Just
her
how
face
much hatred is there.
Look at her face. And so right here in this clip, she goes, isn't that illegal?
No, it's not.
And the answer is no. It is not. So my dad's ashes were mixed into soil, and then we grew a cannabis plant. Then we smoked the plant. And in the state of California, it's illegal to own residential. You can own 6 cannabis plants. And I get that it's unconventional. I get that it's unique. And I get that people are going to say, you know, hey, I would never do that, or I think that's cool. That's up to them.
You're like, oh, that's weird. But
to say illegal, that is misinformation, dum-dum. I just call her dum-dum now, and I don't really call names, but every time she talks, it's just bootlicking Tana. Have you noticed?
So we have a few things here. Let me put on my unlicensed therapist hat. Hello, it is me, your unlicensed therapist. I think that the way that you chose to honor your father in the way that he wanted to be honored is actually beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to do, to be able to have the wherewithal and the means to honor somebody who has passed in your life that you love. That being said, I'm going to say again that at this point you are grief splattering. It's not a technical term, but you have been hurt by, again, the way in which Tana mentioned this situation and made it seem like she just didn't care and that you were just some YouTuber. You're now taking this to a level it doesn't need to go to because of the grief. And we all, again, grieve in our own ways, but now you're making it everyone's problem that you are experiencing this grief when it should have been a conversation between you and Tana. Calling someone a dum-dum and misinformation when they're trying to literally understand if this is something that you can do. Do they go about it the right way? No. Are these people crass? Yes. That's what draws a lot of people to them. That's what draws a lot of people to Tana. Tana is not, soft and going to say everything the right and perfect way. That's why people like her. Because it's nice to see a YouTuber who isn't trying to have this image of perfection and beauty and softness, especially of the female variety, who isn't showing up and being like, hi everyone, it's me. I'm a lady on YouTube, and I'm gonna speak in my softest voice so that I don't alarm or scare you with my breasts or my vagina. I don't want you to be afraid that I have these things and that I am in fact a woman. And so I'm gonna do everything I can to make you as comfortable as I can so that way you are not alarmed by me being a woman and having body hair in places. That's a big reason why people like Tana, is because she's just very unfiltered, and she always has been. So to put this down to starting to name call, now you're at the point where you're calling somebody a dum-dum. And again, I understand that what they said and how they said it was crass. It did not have thought or care in it. But again, this should have been something that you talked to Tana about instead of making a video about and having this messy bitch ass man with you who is very excited to be on a video. And again, this is an hour and 36 minutes of you going through her podcast to nitpick every single thing she said. It's wild behavior. You just needed to sit down with your therapist and have a good conversation and work through this so that you can actually talk to Tana. One of the things I like to do is when I am upset with someone or something, I remove myself from the situation. I sometimes write it all down. Sometimes I'll talk about it with another friend until I'm calm enough to be able to have that conversation with the person that I want to speak to, because I want the conversation to be productive, not combative. This is combative.
I mean, I don't watch a lot of cancel podcasts, but it doesn't surprise me.
Well, even Tana says something, she misunderstands it, says the opposite, and Tana goes, no, I meant this, and she goes, oh yeah, of course that. So she switches her opinion faster than you'd ever, because she just is a yes man.
Although I will say, Rosana is right. Brooke does ride Tana's meat very hard because she has to. Who cares about Brooke? Nobody cares about Brooke. No hate. I guess all hate. Nobody gives a shit about Brooke. If Brooke had her own podcast, no one would watch. Somebody's gonna be like, she does have one, and I'm gonna be like, who's watching it? I've never heard of it. I am still correct. That is true. But Brooke has to ride this to the very end because nobody cares about her alone. She's only relevant because Tana exists. And I will keep saying that. I don't care. And it's not because she's racist. It's like literally because, like, girl, nobody comes to this podcast for Brooke. Conversely, if you watch just Trish, I like Trish and Oscar. Moses, but I like Oscar too. But nobody's like, oh my God, I'm so glad Brooke is there. And I don't care. Maybe somebody is. Nobody I know is. Let me rephrase that.
She's there as a yes man. I just don't think
For a group that hates men so much, he really is making a yes man.
And no, his DNA is not.
That was not a
in the
funny
plant. You're not
joke.
actually smoking down.
For a group that hates men so much, she sure is a yes man. All right, misogyny has entered the chat again.
Plants filter themselves. Like, this is biology 101. Like, just stay in school, kids.
Paige has got to chime in with an absolute banger.
I also don't need you to explain how plants work. None of that. You don't have to explain, all of that. You said you made a video about it and you can leave it there. And like, you could actually direct people and put a card and be like, this card right here is me explaining like how it all went through. So people could actually go see that and get the full information of how that took place. It is a beautiful thing that you were able to do. And again, I think that because Tana referred to it just so like throwaway, it hit you in a spot that was unkind. And I'm sorry that happened. It doesn't necessitate this though. The absolute glee that y'all are getting to finally bring down your nemesis.
Are you ready, guys? Now, Paige calls me a cannibal.
Against the law?
That's like cannibalism.
I don't know, dude.
That's like cannibalism. No, dum-dum. That is not cannibalism. Stay in school, kids. Stay in school.
And I think it just shows how...
She's not smart. I don't know who Paige is. I've never seen this woman before in my life. I'm not sorry to that woman. I'm good to never see her again. But she doesn't appear to be very intelligent and understand what cannibalism is, because it would be eating. I know that smoking is a form of ingestion, but like, she's just asking the question that some people who also have that same brain would probably ask as well. Not a great thing to do, but like,
how miserable these people are when she tells the story of you talking to her and they jump straight to cannibalism. It's just so absurd. It's like such an extreme exaggeration, and you'll see it a lot as they tell their stories.
What I really don't understand is that I have never judged her for all the shit that she has done. I have never judged her. I've never treated her poorly. I have.
Girl, don't. You can't start that sentence by saying, I have never, for all the things that she has done, I have never judged her or treated her poorly. You have. Not to her face though. And even if Tana has experienced major loss, I'm not sure if she has, but Tana is, from what I can tell as an unlicensed therapist, a person who does not deal and or handle deep or harsh emotions. I think that she puts a lid on those types of situations for a long time until she can't anymore. And then she deals with it. She doesn't deal with it at the time that it happens. I think it makes life easier for her to move through. She did have a rough childhood. There's a lot of stuff there that she's had to compartmentalize and move around and try to put in different places so that she can live life. She's experienced a lot of trauma in her life. And as someone who has also experienced a lot of trauma, when you experience trauma, you start trying to find places to put things so that you can try to handle it at a time that's easier and more beneficial, especially because if you are prone to handling any kind of traumatic incident that happens to you with like rage or anger, you recognize that it's really not a good idea to deal with it in the moment. So you try to like find another space and or time to deal with that. I do think she's trying to get better about it, but it's not something that she's great at this point. But you're not somebody who gives a shit about Tana. You don't actually support her. Anybody I actually support would never talk about me like this, and I would never talk about them like that. Like, even if we were having a rough time or a rough patch, we're not gonna shit talk each other into oblivion, because that's just not how that works. I will also say that I do have a habit of referring to painful things that have happened in my life in a very general, I'm gonna say crass way. I deal with pain by laughing at it. Is it dealing with it? No. Do I sometimes cry uncontrollably in the shower for approximately 15 to 45 seconds and then straighten up? Yes. Is that healthy? Also no. But we're here about Rosana, not me.
Have been nothing but loving and kind, and then I do something that's unique, and like sacred, and I get that it's unique, and I want to tell my friend in person, and then
she described it as some YouTuber came up to me. It's just very degrading, and if any of my friends were like, oh, Justine's a cannibal, I'd be like, shut up, you're being dumb. Like, it just shows you the exaggeration and the anger.
And I'm just like, geez Louise, what did I rope myself into, right? And we get to one of these, and again, it's not like negative. I'm still like very happy to be doing this, and like it's very much so for the.
She says, again, it's still not negative. I'm very happy to be doing this.
Despite complaining.
It's not negative. Again, storytelling. A story is told in layers, right? So she started it by, I have to be there at 9 a.m. She then proceeds to hook us in with I have to get dressed, I have to do all this stuff. I didn't get any sleep because I'm a fucking insomniac. Now I'm showing up to this place. There's characters everywhere. This is me inferring, but not adding context. I'm inferring from the way that she is telling this story that she does not have the bandwidth for all of the stuff that is happening due to her not getting sleep.
About every single thing, being mean, and now judging Ro and others. But she's so happy to be here.
She was not happy to be
I'm
there.
happy to be here. Do you a favor.
She didn't want to show up. She didn't want to be there. She left early. Like she did the least amount of work out of any of the cast members. We were there for 2 days. She was there for 1 day. Again, okay, let's go.
But you support her. Why were you cataloging everything she was doing if you support her? I'm just asking like a question. What if you support her, babes?
Much so for the final product. So I'm like, listen, I might have to suffer today, but like I'm happy, nostalgic. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy I'm doing this, whatever, right? And we're in one of those buildings downtown where it's like floors and floors of like different set departments and like sets and stuff. And the set that we're shooting in is underneath the building. It is in the basement of this giant building downtown. So I walk down to shoot. My phone immediately goes on SOS. Okay.
No.
It's freezing outside, so it's cold. Of course, I'm dressed like a slut. I feel like this is always happening to me where someone has me dressed like a slut.
I like how she says her phone immediately goes to SOS. It's like you're down one flight of stairs.
Yeah, if you walk up one flight, it goes up. And I just want to remind everyone on all.
I'm going to tell you a story. One time, me and my mom, we were in a Macy's. Yes, we're old. And so we were in Macy's in a mall. And in this mall, I'm trying to figure out where my mom is because we got separated in the Macy's. I begin trying to text her and I can't text her for some reason. And it's not working. And I'm looking at my phone and it's like got no signal. I'm beginning to panic. I start trying to call my mom. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? It's also dark in the Macy's because, malls. So I'm starting to panic. I cannot call my mom. A call cannot be made. Now I'm rushing around the Macy's. Like at this point, I really think I'm a catastrophizer. At this point, I really think that the end of the world is happening. I just need to get to my mom so that when everything goes bad, like I at least am like by my mom. I'm an adult, by the way. I'm at least 40 at this point. This isn't like child me. This is grown ass adult me. And I am in a fucking panic. And I'm rushing around the store. And then I just start calling out, Barbara! Barbara! And then she's calling for me. We find each other. The way we grabbed each other like two long lost relatives, like, oh my God. I tried to call you. I tried to call you. I thought that something was wrong. I did too. Oh my God. I say all of that to say that the phone signal fucking died for us inside the Macy's in the mall. And we panicked. Tana saying that she went into this building, depending on who your provider is, depends on whether or not your shit works better than others. And even if it is an embellishment for the story, don't be hating.
All the sets that I've been on, you're not supposed to have your phone on set. On NCIS, they did not allow me to have my phone on set when we were filming at all. Even during downtime, during breaks, no one's on their phone.
It's actually uncommon to have cell service because you're normally on a set in a big warehouse.
Where someone has me dressed like...
So I would like to first say... NCIS as a character. That's a production. No hate to Joey Graceffa or anything like that, but this is a YouTube production. I also don't feel like that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. He did fundraise for it. It was through Indiegogo. Okay. So like he is the director, Joey Graceffa, who is a YouTuber. Like I don't think it doesn't seem like he would have been like nobody could have their phones. It doesn't really feel like that would be his vibe. But we know Rosana is such a professional, she's been an extra in multiple things. I've been an extra. That one time I was an extra on the show judging Amy. Yeah. I'm a professional bitch. I just say this because the amount of things I've seen on Instagram from actors on set with their phones. Hey, we're here on the set. You know what I mean?
like a slut, and it's fucking wintertime.
She also plays victim here, and this really bothers me, is she says, someone has me dressed like a slut. Like, they keep making me wear these.
You're adding a lot of context that isn't there. This is a story.
Thanks.
Who do you think that person is that made her do that?
That would be herself. That would be herself, Mike, because Joey let us pick free range anything we wanted to wear. He said, okay. And he said, if you wanted to bring your own outfit from home, you could. You could do whatever you wanted. And that's what I did. I brought my own outfit. And my outfit was actually inappropriate because my top was so low that my boobs were popping out, my nipples were popping out, which I didn't have a problem with. But this is going on YouTube, so I didn't want Joey to get censored.
Yeah, demonetized.
Demonetized. So they actually, wardrobe gave me a jacket.
And I remember them asking Ro, like, here's like 4 or 5 options. One was prom queen, one was this and that. And Ro was like, let the...
Rosana, I don't know how to explain this to you. I'm normally someone who loves to hear about a woman's nipples. Loves to hear about a woman's nipples. Don't get in the comments being weird, but I enjoy it. You know, if you're going to talk about it, I'm going to listen with my eyes like, you know, I don't want to hear about your nipples here. Especially because you're in the robe. There's something about it where I'm just like, okay, now show them to me then. I'm no better than a man. You got me out here talking about, and my nipples were popping out, and then they told me to wear a jacket. I'm like, well, you in a robe, you know, show me what it looked like for science. I'm a scientist. Oh God. Okay. Oh Jesus. Here we go.
Let the other cast pick whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'll either
take what's left. Chill. I don't care.
Yeah, she'll either take what's left or make her own outfit. We ended up making her own, and that's how flexible it is. It is not normal for productions to let you make your own outfit, so it's already more accommodating than any other show.
I would also like to say that as an extra on the show Judging Amy, we were just told what to wear jeans, and the preference was dark colored jeans, and what type of top to wear. And I brought that from my own house, and then I wore it. And one of the main actors or whatever caught up to me to tell me he liked my jeans. And I was like, bitch, I'm about to make it. I didn't make it, obviously. And I was very excited that he liked my jeans because they were like, I don't know, $15 from, you know, LA's fashion district. So productions do have people bring their own clothes.
Show Rev has been on when it comes to wardrobe. And so when she's like, someone is forcing me to dress like a slut.
She didn't say that.
No, she didn't bring her own option, and then wardrobe had 5 options for her, and she chose her outfit, and they ranged all over. And
she literally did not say they are forcing me to be dressed like a slut. She just said, and here I am, they have me dressed like a slut. She didn't say forcing, and she didn't imply that they forced her to.
I don't think she looked slutty. I'm going to be very honest. She looked beautiful. When I saw her walk in the room, she looked gorgeous.
I know.
My jaw dropped.
Yeah, it was a pump. It was really...
Yeah, but that's Tana's look. Tana's look is slutty. Not gonna lie. I like it. But I like boob spillage. You know, I like it when they're like, boop, boop. You know what I mean? When it looks like if they like breathe a little heavy.
It was stunning. It was beautiful.
And yeah, her boobs were pushed up, but I wouldn't ever call it dress slutty in my opinion.
No, I think it had a little bit of sexiness to it, but it wasn't slutty. It was a prom dress.
Like 1 in every 30 set days that I have, you walk in and the production company is all men from like the rickets of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Okay.
That statement is just a lie. The production company was not all male. There was tons of females, and like I don't understand if Tana has like female blindness, like she can't see women. I don't. She just sees the dudes.
When
I don't.
we first walked in, there was like 4 women. They were like some of the first.
Oh my God!
And
Jump scare.
I wasn't prepared for him to look like that. I'm so sorry. I need to clarify. I was listening to this video. I wasn't ready. I just thought something different was underneath the sunglasses. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I just thought something different was under there. I'm so sorry to appear in shame. I wasn't prepared.
Again, exaggerate and say it was all men. It's just not true.
There was tons of women on set, just so everybody knows. And again, I have a video that even has, sorry, there's a guy cutting this tree a few years out.
Around you, Tana's talking about where she went.
Coconuts.
He's getting those coconuts right now.
Don't give a fuck.
But even the lead game designer who like made all the games and explained all of it to us, like she produced everything and she was always there. She's female. And I have a video of even her there. So yes, there were females on set. There was females a part of the crew. There was females on the production. So this is just a blatant lie.
This is also when I'm gonna just go ahead and throw in the fishtail. So for those of you who aren't familiar with a fishtail, it goes a little something like this. A guy goes fishing. A person goes fishing and they catch a fish. It's like, you know, like this big. It was exciting. It wasn't like a big deal. And they're excited about catching the fish. It was a good day. The sun was shining, all of these things. When they go to tell the story of catching the fish, originally it stays here, right? The fish is this big, like da-da-da-da. By probably the 10th, 15th, 16th time that they've told this story, now the fish is this big, okay? They're like, it's fucking this big. They were fighting to like reel this fish in. They're like, oh, and I was like doing it. And then the motherfucker pulled me back and I'm like, ugh, and they're like doing the whole thing. And then like the sky opened up and rain poured down. And just as he pulls the fish out of the thing, the clouds part and the sun comes down and he's got the fish. That's the fish story. That's how generally, not all, but generally, a large amount of people tell stories that way. The more that you tell the story, the more exaggerated, the more things that you add to it, because that's part of storytelling. And most people know that. Most people are aware of that, because you learn that the story is more fun when you have all of like the embellishments and the exaggerations and this being fun, and like it's more interesting. It's not interesting if you're like, so anyways, I went upstairs and like, I don't know, it seemed like the phone wasn't working. Then I walk in and like there's 17 men and 9 women, I counted, in case someone who claimed to support me and be a girl's girl was going to try to refute my claims. That is storytelling. That's the fun of a story. Most people know that, except for Rosana and Ghost BC.
And she insulted him and said from the Ricketts of Los Angeles. So like shaming them where they're from. Like if you're from an area that she doesn't think is good enough, then you're from the Ricketts.
Again, adding context that isn't there. That's part of storytelling. You know, you're like, I walked into the room. It looked like these people just came from the graveyard. Like, that's how it works.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even know if she's using that word right. I'm gonna look it up.
I have no idea what it even means, but it sounds insulting and belittling, like degrading.
So the term rickets is a disease of children caused by vitamin
D
deficiency,
Jesus Christ,
characterized by imperfect calcification, softening, and distortion of the bones, typically resulting in bow legs. And this word,
Jesus, take the wheel.
Take it from my hands.
Oh, he's that font of annoying. Got it. Like, they're like, let's look it up. This is the most literal take. Is it nice that she's saying that they look like they came from like just like the darkest corners of, because that's what she's trying to imply with rickets, like not the actual rickets. She's saying that like these people look like they came from the darkest corners of LA and they're about to start working with me and my phone doesn't work and it's just like, what the fuck? And I've had 2 hours of sleep. I'm just like over it.
was most popular in like the 1930s. So I don't think she's using the word rickets right.
And here they are laughing about it. She's just insulted.
Girl, get you a new man.
People who she believes is below her, and now she's laughing about it. Hee, mean girl energy.
Again, 90% of the time, you'll be on a set with all men, and they're all very just like normal, like younger.
I'm so sorry. I have auditory processing issues. It can be delayed. Did she just say mean girl energy? You're being the meanest of girls right now. And I'm mean. I'm really high up on the bitch eating cracker shit. Like when I don't like you, like you blink wrong, and I'm like, this bitch blinking. Fuck her.
Vibe. There was
younger. There we go. They're a vibe. Yeah. All right. So I think what she may have been upset about is she should have said there was no cute guys in her opinion. They weren't young enough. They weren't hot enough. And so she's just annoyed that these are grown men doing their thing, working.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Tana is still partnered, right?
I don't know what set she's on. It's not. I've never been on a set that's just all men. If it's like a real production,
no.
I feel like she's just making that up. If it's a production of 3 people, maybe it'll be all men. But any real production, if it's like 33
also
people,
like we're not there. It's not Tinder. Like we're not there to date the guys.
We're not there to judge people where they're from or what they look like. Like grow up.
And even if Tana is partnered, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look at attractive people. That's fine. Maybe y'all need to grow up. Maybe you need to find something to do. Honestly, girl, get you a new man. Get you a man who is not in all your business like this, who's not like eager to take down another bitch. Are you serious? Throw him in the garbage. Put him in the trash.
He is not the love of your life. He is literally just a guy. Hit him with your car.
Look at her face though. She's so satisfied with this takedown. So self-satisfied.
They're not young enough? What? Who says that? On a production crew. This director's not young enough.
This shoot would have been so much fun.
This producer's not young enough. This director's too ugly. Could you imagine saying that to a real director? Like, it's just so shallow.
I couldn't imagine saying it because that's not what she said. Again, I understand. She hit you in a spot that hurts. She poked a wound that is nowhere near healed. This is why you need a mature adult to have a relationship with who wouldn't allow you to embarrass yourself like this on social media. Because I can tell you right now, not one of my friends nor any of my romantic partners would allow me to do this shit. And I mean allow. I know people are like, you can't tell a tourist to do shit. You can't. Listen, if M had to come up here and take every camera and mic out, they would do that. And here he is cheering it on. I actually do feel bad for her in this regard because she has somebody who's like helping to fan the flames of this fire. And now she's out here embarrassing, like just her whole ass is showing.
Everything is about looks with them.
Oh, look, it's ad time. This part of the video is not sponsored by Mac Fix It. This one's coconut, my favorite. Does it even smell like coconut? Not really, but does it really help to place a shade, a shiny, shimmery shade in the inner corner of your eye? Why, yes, it does. Pick some up today. It's expensive. Or don't, because there's not an affiliate link. Do whatever you want. All right.
Men from this production company just weren't giving that. Like, and it was just like very creepy. Like I just, the vibes with every interaction I had with every single person, like just the mic guy, it was like, he's not asking me, he's all up in my.
So she says every interaction with every single person was weird or giving weird vibes or whatever. And it's like, no, I literally was next to Tana when she talked to several crew members several times. It was completely normal interaction.
Gotta love it when a man tells a woman whether or not she was experiencing things being creepy for her. You wouldn't see it as creepy. One, because I think that you are actually creepy. But one, you wouldn't see it as creepy because you are a man. And you did notice Tana's tits, which is fine. Everybody has eyes. You can look. That aside, I was right next to Tana. All the interactions were fine to you because you're not in Tana's body. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said it like that. Oh, gross. I'm sorry. Because you are not Tana. Like, I can't tell you why somebody might make me uncomfortable and not make another person uncomfortable. They could just give me a vibe I don't like.
Lisa, it's me, Wally. White ass Wally.
White ass Wally?
He doesn't have to be out here being a whole fucking cunt. God.
So just based on what I saw in person with my own eyes, it already proves, in my opinion, that she is either exaggerating or just lying. And that's not to say when we get to the other actor what he said, it's not to say that didn't happen. But here she's literally saying every interaction with every person on the crew was weird. That's just not true. If you feel like every interaction was weird with every single...
Hyperbole. People often use the term everyone, no one. It doesn't actually mean everyone and no one. Now we're back into the semantics of things where you're once again trying to take everything that Tana says. This is why, like, girl, I need you to find you a new man. I don't know how long you've been with this man, but you need to, Lord, because you are not going to find me getting twisted out with a man behind me.
Person, maybe it's not them.
Here we go. Let's hear some more.
Not asking me, he's all up in my guts. He's like very weird, like heavy breathing, like complimenting me. Like, I do appreciate a compliment, but it's like weird when you're underground in a basement.
I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but he wasn't heavy breathing because he thought Tana was hot and he was into her and he's like being creepy and slimy. He was heavy breathing because he was overweight.
This is where I'm like, girl, put the fucking mic down. You shouldn't have even said that. Because first of all, you have no fucking idea if he was heavy breathing because he was overweight. Because they're going to go in here and they're going to talk about how he's running around doing a lot of stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, I heavy breathe doing a lot of stuff. I heavy breathe moving around. Nobody said anything about this man's weight except you. And you made an assumption that the reason that he was heavy breathing, and you tried to preface it by like, I don't mean this in any particular way, but like, and then you said it. I'll be heavy breathing coming up these stairs, especially right now because like my leg hurts. I'm kind of dragging it up. It's more difficult for me to walk upstairs right now. I'm gonna heavy breathe up there. So there was like no reason for you to bring that in. And I just want to point out that Tana did not say anything about that man's weight. She did, because she's trying to defend him. If you're defending him by being fat phobic, that's weird as fuck.
He was busting his ass. He was running up and down the stairs all day, working so hard. He was so kind, and he was out of breath because he was working his ass off. Yeah. He was working way harder than her.
So she doesn't like where they...
So do you see how you could have completely eliminated the overweight? That literally didn't need to be there. That he was working his ass off. He was so kind, like da-da-da-da. That's all you had to say. You could have clipped that out. If you had any intelligence up here and any professionalism, since you keep talking about it, like I would never have left that in, even if I was dumb enough to say it. That doesn't make any sense. Like that was mean and unnecessary.
Or from, she doesn't like that he was breathing heavier than she would like.
She says something mean or he's ugly. Oh wait, there's some more complaints.
You look so beautiful today, Tana. And they look like a fucking gremlin and you're like, my phone's on SOS and like it's just...
Yeah, time and place.
She complains that he compliments her, which he complimented everyone.
You see how I'm having to stop because she stops every second? Tana barely gets through any of the story. She complains that he's ugly. Shallow again. He's heavy breathing. He looks like a gremlin. She's having a rough time. Again, this is part of storytelling. And she hasn't said this man's name. She didn't put up a picture of the man. She's telling the story. I've called men worse when I'm telling stories about them.
I did not pick up that he was saying it in a creepy or hitting on you way at all. I think he was just giving kind compliments, and that's how it came across to me. She just thinks that everyone is obsessed with her.
Yeah.
Now we're battling in a weird way. You're really working hard to belittle and drag Tana down. Like, I've never seen anybody try to drag someone else down to hell so fucking hard.
Something upstairs where she's like, he was heavy breathing on me and hitting on me. And I'm like, he was heavy breathing because he was running around all day.
And she did not say hitting on me. She said, he's like, you look so pretty, Tana. She's just not in the mood for this shit right now. And she says so.
I saw him mic a lot of people, and he was very respectful. Again, I didn't see every single mic.
I feel bad for him.
Talent, but again, saying that every interaction was weird, that's just not true. Like, I saw him mic her at one time, and it was fine. It was nothing, yeah. So I don't know why she needs...
Once again, were you literally shoulder to shoulder with her experiencing the interaction?
Needs to now insult his looks. She doesn't like their age, doesn't like where they live from, doesn't like their looks. Is there anything she likes?
She doesn't like getting a compliment.
Yeah, I can't do that.
What I'm picking up is that like anything you do is wrong. Unless you're a hot dude, then you can do no wrong. You can do whatever you want. That's not a healthy mindset.
First of all, shut the fuck up. That's for everybody. If you find someone attractive, they can get away with a lot more shit. That's just in general. That's whatever you find attractive. Like, I've told the story before. I feel like I like a big man, okay? When I'm manning, I like a big man. I'm at AT&T. He's helping me out with something with the phone. He shows me how. And my response immediately was like, okay, deity. Now, other people wouldn't have had that response. Some people would not have found him attractive. I did. He looked at me, he smiled and laughed a little bit. If he didn't think I was cute, he wouldn't have done that. It literally is just like whatever you find attractive. You don't have to be mean to people who you don't find attractive, but like it is nice to be able to like be on a set and like have people look good around you, so you have like something to focus on, especially when you haven't had any sleep.
And so eventually I have a little side quest, okay? I'm solo from everyone else that I'm filming with, right? And I'm already just like 4 hours into this and like
big work day. 4 hours.
4 hours shift, and I am dead.
I'm beat.
It has nothing to do with the fact that I only got 2 hours of sleep.
I'm gonna punch these people theoretically in Minecraft, to borrow from Mika's rhetoric, who says that more than anybody else. Hi, I'm not a rich person. I work on my feet. As I'm sure many people who are watching this video can attest to, any kind of service work, whether it be wait staff, grocery, retail, I feel confident that neither one of you two people have had to stand for 4 hours. 4 hours is half of your workday, half of a regular workday. For us plebeians down here, for us poors, that's half of your workday. It's actually exhausting. You get quite tired. So like, don't be out here making fun of like 4 hours. Oh my God. Cause it sucks, actually. Like, I wouldn't be scoffing at that. I wouldn't have even brought that up. Cause like most of us could actually relate to Tana being like, and I've been at this for 4 hours already. We're like, yeah, fucking 4 hours, bro. Even at our desk jobs, we're like, oh my God, I've been here half the day. Please let me die. Like, it's wild. It's a wild thing for them to be like, oh God, everything she says, everything she does, they just pick. I'm gonna finish this little section. I'm gonna scooch forward so that you can continue to see that like the picking and doesn't end.
It's because of this crazy situation where I had to work for 4 hours.
It is not the set's fault that you didn't sleep.
Yeah.
And she never said that. She never said it was the set's fault that she didn't sleep. Again, Rosana's been doing this repeatedly throughout this, adding context that is not there in the story at all, and consistently being like, it's not Set's fault you didn't sleep. She's never said it was. She immediately said from jump, like, I have insomnia, so you know I didn't get any sleep. At no point so far has she been like, oh, this is their fault that I had to be there. She's just telling a fucking story, bro.
The whole thing of like what is being made is also very much not like things that I'm normally doing. Like, I'm screaming and I'm running and I'm like physically exerting myself in so many ways that I normally like wouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so I'm just dead. And
she's doing things she wouldn't normally do. No, normally you don't film Escape the Night every day. And she knows exactly what Escape the Night is like because she's been in 2 previous seasons. And not only been in 2 previous seasons, but she knows that those were a lot more time demanding, like Vampire Out.
And as she literally just said, she doesn't do this shit every day, which you conveniently have skipped over. She's like literally saying it.
Made is also very much not like things that I'm normally doing. Like, I'm screaming and I'm running and I'm like physically exerting myself in so many ways that I normally like wouldn't be.
Wow. I'm glad that they have like the laptop and mics so that they can just power couple take someone down.
Way harder. These were easy mode. These were cakewalk. It's just a lot of exaggerating.
Finally, I have a little like,
if this were wrestling, they are Hulk Hogan.
Side quest, right? And so along with the hired production crew, there's hired actors, right? And all of these hired actors are wearing masks, like scary, like horror nights, like horror actors almost, right? And so I have this little side quest with one of these horror actors, okay? And so I get dragged into a freezer, okay? A meat freezer. There's like things hanging from like the ceiling, like whole nine.
Never that.
And there's a camera on me getting dragged by this man. And then they're like, okay, your next scene is that you're going to be chained to the ceiling.
I'm just going to explain something for context because I think that is very important. I think it's lacking in this, is that we were playing tag.
A children's game.
A children's game on a creepy decorated set. We went over all of this in rehearsals, so she's acting like this is shocking her. Like she got dragged by something and dragged into a room and hung up. We went over all this in rehearsals, so it's not shocking or surprising to her.
And the dragging was like a scene. It wasn't something
scene
that
was fake.
Unexpectedly happens. They literally like ran through it.
For safety, what we did is the monster, we were playing tag, and if the monster tagged you.
Hi, Rosana. None of us needed this context. Listen, I just wanted to enjoy Tana's story. I liked Tana's storytelling. As soon as she says meat freezer, I was like locked in again. She's like, a meat freezer. I'm like, a meat freezer? Girl, what? So now we have to hear them explain why Tana's a fucking liar about her experience in the meat freezer that they weren't in while she's telling the story. Continue.
Then you were captured. And then they would stop, reset, and then he would do this fake capture, fake dragging you over to timeout. And then you'd sit there in timeout. You didn't have to stay there. You could have left because as soon as the cameras are done, you could do whatever and hang tight while the cameras are still going playing tag. It's a planned thing. They also did this for safety because they didn't want a monster to just grab us and actually drag us away. So for safety, we did tag. We were told we were going to be tagged, touched, gave permission, all of these things. To say that she's shocked about being dragged, that's not what happened.
And then she's mentioning.
But she didn't say she was shocked. That's also not what happened. Okay.
The meat freezer.
The meat freezer. Mike, tell us about the meat freezer.
So she's honestly making it sound like she's getting drugged into a meat freezer with actual meat, and she's actually freezing. Neither of those things are true.
Actual.
Is it worms? It's got to be worms. I feel confident that almost no one thought that Tana was talking about filming a project in an actual meat freezer with pig carcasses and cow carcasses hanging down from it. I feel confident none of us were thinking that. We're just thinking it's a location, and the location was a meat freezer, not an actual meat freezer. And I can be quite literal at times, most times.
Meat on site. The props were made out of plastic.
Yeah, I don't think this freezer has been used in like 50 years. I don't think it works.
It's a non-active freezer, and there's not even a door, you guys. It doesn't even close. There's a partial wall. It's totally open. The basement of this building is open concept, so they have hallways, but all the rooms connect, and it's there's no real door.
It's basically just a room without a door.
There's one fake door.
I don't know if you want to explain to Tana, even though she's been on the show twice before, that it's all fake. It's not real meat. You're not being really drugged. You're not being really tied to this.
Apparently, his name is Mike. Get you a man that doesn't act like Mike if you're interested in men, or get you a partner that doesn't act like that. This is obnoxious.
You think the rehearsal she would have got it then?
Yeah. I don't know. It's not real.
So now I'm fucking standing there, getting chained to the ceiling at 11 a.m. downtown in a gown with a corset in a meat freezer with my phone on SOS, and it's 40 degrees. And I'm like,
What's crazy is almost every single thing she said in that list that she just raged about is either a lie or an exaggeration. Nobody was tying her to the ceiling.
Nope.
The only thing that is kind of true is your phone went on SOS too.
Yeah.
And it's like 15 steps to get up the stairs, and then you magically have your cell phone again.
I imagine that they were getting her hands up there to prepare for the filming. Okay, Mike. Continue, because it feels like you wanted to do this more than Rosana. So tell us the story, Mike.
So I'll give her that. Technically, her phone was on SOS.
But you shouldn't have your phone on set.
I know, you're not carrying your phone around on set. And so everything she said in that list to try and make her story sound bigger and scarier is either an exaggeration or a lie.
I got permission to play a video, and I'm going to play it in this video, and it's basically going to clock the lies.
Because it's fucking storytelling.
And I really want you guys to see these chains that she keeps referring to. And what I really don't like is that she keeps talking about them and painting the picture that she's actually locked to the ceiling. Like she's chained in and can't move. And the reason I don't like it is because she's making it sound like her safety is at risk. Like she's locked in this room with this guy who said something to make her feel uncomfortable.
I feel like I'm having a fun time listening to her tell this story about how she got up and she was like going and filming Escape the Night until the story takes a left turn.
And she cannot get out. That's what she's painting the picture.
I'll post on the screen.
Post a picture.
Yeah, of like one random comment, and there's hundreds of these, of people taking what Tana is saying as fact and then getting upset about it and then continuing to spread the misinformation.
Yeah.
And that's why when people are like, there's no perfect victim, or, she's just exaggerating, but this other thing happens. I agree, there's no such thing as a perfect victim. But when you go on your own podcast to millions of people that you have full creative control over, she is choosing to intentionally exaggerate.
And lie.
And then you get on yours to intentionally make her look bad because it's Tana and you can do that. Tana has a reputation, so you're going to get a lot of views by being fucking assholes and trying to negate her story. Embellishing the little details here and there doesn't change what happened. Jesus, like it's very difficult to watch these two people because she talks about it on Just Trish as well.
Now I'm just in this room, no cameras. Through the mask, he says to me, he goes, "Perfect. Like I've always wanted to have you chained up." And I go, "Ah!" What? I go, what did you just say? And he goes, never mind. Like, I probably shouldn't have said that. Like, whatever. And like, I heard him. And then now he's like laughing to himself because like, he thinks I didn't hear what he said, right? And so I'm just standing there like this, and I can't see this person's face.
Oh
and
my God!
And it like no cameras. It was in his real voice. He introduced his name. Like he wasn't being an actor. Like, do you know what I mean? It was some real.
The thing about this is, I don't care if she embellished. The thing that you have to pay attention to, especially with Tana, if you ever pay attention to when something actually hurts or harms her. There are very specific parts of those stories that don't ever change. Go back and look at the multiple times she talked about the Cody Ko situation. There are parts that do not change every single time. And of course, she's going to embellish all the things that she was actually like laughing at, having fun. The part where it stops being fun is that guy. Y'all spent 41 minutes nitpicking her for every single thing. Then you're going to come over here and be like, well, yeah, but if somebody lies and like, you weren't even in the room with her. You weren't in the scene with her. You've been consistently talking about how she's not professional. You're not supposed to have your phone on set. And I just want Rosana to take like a brief moment and think about how exactly you would feel if someone who you thought you were cool with and you were friends made a damn near 2-hour-long video disputing all of your claims, right? All the stuff that happened with Mr. Beast, there were so many people who, especially other women, who supported you. Now imagine if those same women came through and made a video with, I guess, their shitty, messy ass partner, trying to dispute every single thing that you said about what happened to you with Mr. Beast and Beast Games. I don't know that man. I don't want to. It's not just the dead eyes. He's just always been creepy to me. But imagine that. Someone just coming and like taking you down bit by bit by bit. And them and their partner are gleefully laughing as they go through your story and be like, yeah, well, I mean, Rosana didn't actually finish this, like, da-da-da. And she was told, like, I mean, everybody knows that things can change after production because I thought you were a professional. Everything can change after production and they can like make like the outcome based on like what they think would be more entertaining for the viewer. And like everybody signs a paper that says that. Rosana wasn't made uncomfortable. Rosana was given this. How would you feel about that? Would you feel great that like somebody that you thought you were cool with spent all this time doing that? And again, I understand you are hurt, but this is misdirected anger. So it's wild as fuck that like, again, you spent all of this time going over this. You're trying to negate and dispute the situation, the experience that Tana had. Y'all are acting like you were standing right next to her the whole time. Everything she says can't possibly be true. And this is what we talk about when we're talking about like that somebody isn't a perfect victim. Because people like you do shit like this. You take somebody who you know has a reputation and then you spend time spinning a story trying to humiliate and embarrass them. I can't stress this enough. When Tana filmed that, Escape the Night had not yet been announced.
Rosanna and now Tana are like the only ones that have been exposed.
I feel like I know the whole cast. That's why I thought it was like out there because there's that TikTok and they just show everybody that's going to be on it. So I was like, I don't know if this is a secret anymore.
There's a couple that they haven't exposed, so.
She was trying to keep certain details from it so that people did not know that it was Escape the Night because it wasn't her secret to tell. Joey spent all this time raising all of this money, doing all of this stuff. He's building the movie. It's coming out. It hadn't been announced that it was ready yet. So she's trying to keep like the secrets of that part of it while also telling like the parts of this that made her uncomfortable.
And then this same horror actor, the one who said this to me, comes over to like grab her away, right? And my hand is on her shoulder and he like just like goes like, do you get what I'm saying? To grab her like over my pinky and my pinky like inverts. And I'm just like, and I'm like immediately screaming. And of course, everyone else is screaming. Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's like a horror thing. And I'm like actually screaming because my pinky is broken. And at first I think it's my nail. And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, I think it's my nail. So I'm kind of just making like broken nail jokes and stuff. And then after a while, I'm like, looks a little wonky. I'm like pulsating, like 10 out of 10 pain. I'm like, oh my God.
They then go through to nitpick about her pinky not really being hurt. You can strain your pinky, you can sprain it, you can break it and still like live your life. I broke my pinky playing basketball in like, I don't know, 9th grade. It had to be like 7th or 8th grade. Little bend here. I don't know if you can like see it, but like that little like lumpity bump, which, you know, it's been time. It's been 30 years. I broke it. And I guilt trip my mom for it all the time. It's how I got, I feel like my first PlayStation. I was like, hey, you let my finger break. I told you it was more than a jam. You didn't listen. Now look at it. It's healed crooked. She'd be like, what do you want me to do? Break it again? I'm like, nope, but a PlayStation would be nice. And guess what? Been a gamer ever since. Even Joey spends time being all like...
When Tana brought it up on her podcast, I was like, honestly, whatever. Like, she can complain. Like, it's just bringing attention to the project.
And again, we keep finding ourselves, we just keep making the same cycle over and over again, where if it's somebody that we don't like and we think oh, they just embellish, they over exaggerate, they do this, we think it's fine to pull them down all the time. And I think that it's weird. All of this could have, in fact, been an email. The way that they spent, and I'm going to go to the 123 mark. I think it's really weird for you to be like that. I can't imagine just being such a bully to somebody like this.
Doctor at the hospital, so you can verify that that is a real document and not a doctored document.
And it's
but also the fact that she was trying to be oh, if your finger was broken, show me. Honestly, fingers and toes are broken more often than people even know that they are. Some of them don't even take a fucking x-ray. Do you know how expensive that shit is? Not all of us have great insurance. A lot of them can literally just be yeah, it's broken. Wear this fucking splint. It's not a life-ending injury. And she was never making out to be oh my God, it ended my life. Oh, well, I saw her at the premiere and she was fine. She was at some party. It doesn't mean it didn't hurt at the time it happened. So trying to act as if because she didn't have a fucking x-ray and she went to an event afterwards. I continued to play basketball with my broken finger. I continued to live my life with my broken pinky. It didn't hinder me. Wild times.
Okay, but this man who just literally verbally, is that sexual assault? It's harassment. Sexual harassment.
It started out as weird, then it was assault. Now she's it's sexual assault.
And this is the thing again, everything that she says, they twist it around and say she said something she didn't. She asked a question. Is that sexual assault? That's all. Is that sexual assault? And she's like, no, it's sexual harassment. She gets clarification. It's not that hard. It's literally not that hard.
And Brooke is sexual harassment.
She's reel it in. She's guiding it just a little bit back.
This man who just sexually harassed me on a set, then just broke my pinky. That shit fucking hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's so ass and so annoying. And
it's not your pinky.
And Joey.
It was an accident also. We were playing tag and on set.
She's not saying it wasn't an accident. The issue that she's having right now is that she explained something that happened to her. It hurt, and everyone is just brushing it off oh, it's just Tana. Who cares? Now, if we want to do the whataboutism game, we can play the game of what would happen if it was Rosana. If Rosana was telling the story of what happened to her, it would probably be a different group of people. That's the thing. And again, we are 1 hour, 36 minutes of them just trying to negate everything that Tana says. Then they're going to come over here and be this is the video.
I need you to be chained up. I'm sorry.
Is this a situation?
Yeah. Oh my God, you're so...
This kind of situation?
You reaching up is so funny.
I mean, this is, Joey, this
wow. We're stretching it. We're going to make you taller.
made for size.
No, it's perfect.
Okay, wait, let's test.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
It works.
What was the point in this? Because that wasn't ever really the main point of the story. The point of the story is that dude is miking her up and stuff, and he's waiting for their cue to get ready. She's got her hands in here and he says that to her, which is fucking creepy. That's the point. And he's supposed to be acting like he's the bad guy. That's awful. Right? It doesn't matter that you can get out or any, that wasn't the main point. And if you want to feel oh, she's completely tied up and she can't leave, if you were a person who was that's how I felt it was, and now seeing that she could have left at any point, that wasn't the point. And she's explained and expressed her discomfort with this. She explained and expressed that she got hurt, and what she got in return was everybody just trying to be oh, that's Tana, who gives a shit, right? And so then, because she goes on Just Trish, she explains the situation. She says how she felt about it. Just a side note, I'm not going to show them here because I try not to do it. Multiple people on this video, which this video has 68K views. It was released 6 days ago. And the amount of people who come here and are my own take on this is that I don't think Tana was intentionally trying to badmouth Rosana or say anything mean about her, primarily because the project was secretive and they didn't want the cast members to be revealed so early in the project and production. Tana had to say it in a way that wouldn't reveal who was in the movie. But because Roxana had talked about her father's ashes and smoking them, it was obvious people knew she was talking about her, right? So like all of this is unnecessary. Nasty behavior, nasty, just the whole thing was just nasty from beginning to end because she got hurt. She also managed to hurt Trisha as well by like liking nasty comments and things about Trisha. Trisha's sitting here like, I thought we were friends. What the fuck did I do? How am I in it? You know I'm friends with Tana. And now you're like, you've made this long ass video. So then Rosana finally trying to be like, I'm so sorry. So she's basically making her gray hoodie video. For those of you who aren't aware, editor, enlighten them.
I can't believe I'm making this video.
For today's video, I don't even need to give you an intro. You know why we are here.
I want to talk to you guys in this video. It's been so long.
So today's video is a video I should have made a lot earlier, and I should have addressed things a lot sooner.
Hi guys, with everything going on, I just wanted to talk to you one-on-one and set the record straight. Right here on my relatable ass floor in this raggedy ass t-shirt that actually cost $200.
I just want to put that out there before even jumping in to the actual video so that you guys know that I'm not going to run away from this.
You know, you guys, confrontation really brings out a bad side of me, and by that I mean my anxiety and my depression, and confrontation really brings my anxiety to a whole new level.
I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for me to address some old tweets that I twatted 8 years ago.
I was so stupid and ignorant.
I was being prideful, and I thought to myself, I didn't do anything wrong.
And let me just say, first, foremost, and unequivocally, that I am sorry if you were offended.
I tried my best to rectify a situation that I fucked up in.
And I'm sorry.
And looking back, I would change things if I could.
Oh, I'm sure you guys can see.
Just want to put that out there and know my intentions and what's real, what's not, and give you the facts.
I really wanted to get through this without crying. I just really appreciate it if you guys just completely forget this ever happened.
And I hope you guys understand that I just need some time now.
Have I been shady along the way and like with tweets and likes and things like that? Absolutely. Everyone has. All of us have.
And then also, I'd really love it if you guys would attack anyone who ever tries to bring this up again later, because like I just said I was sorry.
I love you guys so much.
I'm going to work very hard and I'm going to work very diligently to make sure that within the next couple of months, within the next year, you're going to look at my brand and be like, oh wow.
So we're going back in here. We're going to show you this video here, which is a message to Trish and my issue with Tana Mojo.
Hey, little rebels, welcome back to Ridiculous. I just got in last night from the plane. We were traveling. We were on a fundraising trip, raising money for people who have been affected by the
I also need her to stop bumpering all of this shit with I'm doing a lot of good things. Because I think that's gross. Because she did the same thing when she came to like do her takedown of Tana, which didn't work. It just made you look mean and awful and spiteful for no reason. This video is 22 minutes. And again, you're like, sorry, it took me a minute. I was doing good things for the world. Like, stop. Again, you tell me you're a girl's girl. I don't fucking believe you. This is who I think you are. Like this right here. I think you're this girl. And I'm like, no, that's okay. With friends like you, I don't need any more enemies.
LA fires. They were pretty tough this year, and it was just an amazing trip. It was with Drew Brees' charity. But for this episode, it's just going to be me. It's cozy. We're sitting in the chairs today, drinking tea, and I'm hanging out with the dogs. So for everyone listening to this podcast, if you hear snoring, it's just my bulldogs. I just really wanted to talk about some things that have been going on. I think it's important to start with this. I believe Tana when she said that a guy said something inappropriate to her on set, like he sexually harassed her on set of Escape the Night. When she told me on set, I fully had her back, and I said, I'm so sorry that happened to you, and you should tell Joey.
But then you got your feelings hurt, and you no longer had her back. That's the problem with people like you. You got your feelings hurt and then you did not have her back. There are multiple people on your previous video explaining to you that like this should have been something that you called Tana about instead of getting on there with your shady ass messy man doing all this. You caused all of this for no reason. When people cause drama for me and I'm not like in the mood for all that shit, I just cut you the fuck out of my life. Like I'm never gonna talk to you again. It's really easy for me. I have done it on multiple occasions, right? If you come trying to be messy for no reason, when I'm like literally trying not to think about how you did me wrong, you got your feelings hurt. You had her back until she mentioned the way that you honored your father, which again, I agree was careless and callous. But you should have been an adult and, as you like to keep saying, a professional, and handled this with her, not with us. And some of y'all who've been doing this shit too long, y'all need to put the cameras down. You need to put the mics down. This also has a text messaging feature. Did you know that? I want to show you how phones work. So what you do, you go into your phone. If you have to like use a fingerprint or code, whatever, you do that. There's this little thing here and it says like text message, and you choose that, and then you choose who you want to text and you push that on there. Sometimes you'll have to make a new one. So you'll go like that and it'll let you check and like type in the name of the person that you want to text, and then you text them a message.
What, like it's hard?
That's what they also do. They don't just film stuff or take photos. You don't have to like, you know, subtweet people or subline people. You don't have to do that. You can actually text someone directly. I know that sounds very condescending because it was meant to.
Tana was wrong, and him waiting until she was alone to say it is very telling that he knew that what he was doing was wrong. I'm proud of Tana for speaking up. She told me, she told Joey later that day on set. Like, no one deserves to be treated like that, especially on set. Everyone deserves to feel safe in a working environment. I fully support her for calling out his disgusting behavior. On my previous podcast, I said that I continue to choose to support her, even though she's mocked me. Unfortunately, I know firsthand how scary it can be to be sexually harassed on set. I've been in those positions, and
I don't want to hear about whatever you have experienced. Not to be rude, this is supposed to be, it feels like it was supposed to be an apology. It's not. You keep saying that she mocked you, and it's very obvious that her intention was never to mock you specifically. She was quite literally telling a story about how she got no sleep. She was getting to the harassment part. All these things are happening. Someone comes up to her. They're telling her this like wild story that she just didn't have bandwidth for at this point. She's really running out of patience anyway because she's kind of exhausted. She wants to go home. And now, to add insult to fucking injury, this weirdo is like sexually harassing her on set. Same weirdo then accidentally gets her hurt. And she's upset. She's just like, I'm so glad to go home. I'm glad this shit's over. Woof. So after she tells this story, not only does Joey Graceffa just shove it off like, who gives a fuck? Someone who she thought was her friend and should have, again, sent her an email or a text and been like, hey, I know you weren't trying to be mean to me. At least I hope you weren't. But I really didn't appreciate the way that you handled that, because then you would have given Tana the space to address that in the next podcast. Because by that point, Escape the Night would have been announced and people would know that it was like coming. And then Tana could like address and be like, I really didn't mean for it to sound like that. Like, I was really just trying to keep your identity a secret. And I didn't really think about the fact that people would know it was you. And I'm sorry if it hurt you because that was never my intention. Boom. Problem solved. Instead, you caused all this bullshit, and even here, you are still making this about you. That's not what we need.
I'm sorry that if my criticism about other things that Tana said overshadowed that fact. Like, I should have done a better job at being clear of keeping those two things apart. Like, me criticizing and fact checking the other things that she was saying on the podcast was in no way intended to claim that she was lying about.
But I would also like to state that your fact checking isn't fact checking if there's not facts, it's opinion. This is actually a feeling based situation in a lot of the stuff that took place. I don't know if you remember this, but your man Mike did regularly negate any negative feelings that Tana said she had about anybody. Oh, I was standing there, so who cares? Everybody was nice to her, who cares? He didn't say who cares, but that was his thing. You can't fact check someone's feelings. You can't do that. You didn't even have to do that. That's the real fun part. You didn't have to fact check her at all. Your video could have been, if you wanted to address it, if you were insistent on making a video, it could have literally been like 10 minutes of you explaining like the whole thing about your father, directing people to the video where you talk about it and saying like, hey, I don't appreciate that. But here we are. I love it when people like to come on and non-apology. Like, just don't fucking say anything.
being sexually harassed. The reason that I spoke out about this is because I felt Tana was associating many innocent people with the very harmful actions of one
innocent people that weren't named. Nobody was named. This is why I hate y'all. I'm just gonna say it like with just, I hate y'all. Like, who the fuck told you to speak up, bitch? I'm so sorry. Listen, I'm a little heated. It frustrates me because people do. She named no one. And if you hadn't made like a damn near 2-hour mockumentary of her, nobody would really even be trying to look into what the fuck anybody said. But instead, you had to do this whole thing to like prove. Tana, you took everything she said literally, leading up to her explaining like the assault. She was very much cushioning and couching a terrible thing that happened to her with humor, which is something, again, unlicensed therapists here, a lot of people who have experienced trauma do. Not all, but a lot. They will couch a horrible thing that happened to them with funny and things that don't sound or feel terrible. It's a thing that a lot of therapists will in fact do to help you get through something or talk through something. They'll help you to like, well, what happened before? So instead of you talking about the awful thing that actually took place, they will try to guide you through like the hours leading up to it, the time that you were having before, so that by the time you get to the awful part, you're no longer tense. You don't restrict your vocal cords. Your body isn't feeling it. They're trying to relax you so that you can talk about and through the situation. And you're still being mean.
The individual. Her claims that the entire crew were like old, creepy men is just harmful because the crew was a mix of men.
It's not harmful because it's, again, hyperbole. You took it literally and you're still using this as your platform to be a bitch. You're like not taking responsibility for the fact that you were hurt by the way that she talked about your father's passing and how you honored him. And instead of being a fucking adult and a professional, you took it to the internet like a weirdo.
And women whose livelihoods depend on their reputation. And Tana is in a position of privilege. And to use that privilege to spread lies about hardworking people just to make her podcast more interesting comes off as very problematic to me. For example, what she said about the wardrobe team.
You know what's fun is when nobody says anybody's name, there's no pictures up there. You know, I just want you to know the rest of us regular ass people and anybody who is watching her podcast is like legitimately not going to like look up who all was on the cast and who did this and who did that. That wasn't the part of the story that I was even interested in. Like, also a supporter of victims doesn't kiki haha hee hee over not all men jokes. Like, you and your man sat there and took apart everything she said. And you keep saying that it's for the sake of these phantom people none of us know. For you championed them because you're a champion, because you care about people. And it's problematic. Okay, girl.
She was saying that they made her wear this outfit. They put her in this slutty outfit.
Of course I'm dressed like a slut. I feel like this is always happening to me where someone has me dressed like a slut and it's fucking wintertime.
And then she does later go back and explain that she does say that like she chose that, like, because that's Tana's look and she's aware.
It's not what happened. They were really nice people. They provided multiple options. Joey gave us full free range to wear whatever we wanted. We could even bring outfits from home. And the wardrobe department provided her with 5 different outfit options and she got to choose.
We know you already told us that with that guy. You already told us this with Mike.
Which one was her favorite? So by slandering and saying they forced her to wear this, well, they don't have a big platform to speak up for themselves. When this movie comes out and the credits roll, their names are public and people are going to associate them with doing things that they didn't do. And that's not fair to them. That's Tana making up stories that could negatively impact.
Hello. Hi. How are you? Show of hands for people who aren't in the film industry. Show of hands for people who don't do any photography or any of that. People who just watch movies. How many of you are actively and aggressively reading the credits? A show of hands. I just want to know.
That's all. Their livelihood. Like, it's risking the potential of those people not getting hired in the future. And that is not okay. Some people listening didn't understand why I was so passionate about this. And it's because
you made up context that wasn't there. That's why. This is, again, why I defined context early in this. Because she's like, again, creating this magical context that does not exist. And that's a wild thing to do. This is a leap and a stretch, if you ask me. I just think that this is enough because I feel like she's going to start crying at some point and she's going to sit here and try to make herself the victim.
Some of the crew personally, and they don't deserve to be lumped in like that. Words matter and they have an effect on people, their reputations and their livelihoods. I really want to emphasize that both of these things can be true. I think that it's wrong what happened to Tana with that.
Why would you say that words matter when you were just so happy to use your words to hurt somebody whom you said you've always supported? Because you went through a litany of things that you said bad about Tana. She only worked 4 hours. Everyone else worked this time. And here's a fun fact. You did use some of the same language that you were accusing her of using and saying like, oh, I'm fact checking. You used that language too, saying, oh, everyone else worked the full 2 days. Everyone else had a 12-hour day. She only had 4, maybe 6 hours. She went home. The rest of us worked. Do you want somebody to go and investigate who else worked all of that shit? Because, girl, this is dumb. Like, you're not fixing it. Just apologize. Like, why is it so fucking hard for people to say, I say this every time. Why can't you just say you're sorry?
That actor said and did to Tana is not okay. And I also think Tana slandering the entire crew and making up lies about them is not okay. The point I was trying to make in the last podcast are both things are not okay. Trish even said that she's never seen me like this before, and that is because I'm really hurt. This, what I'm about to talk about right now, is a separate issue. It has nothing to do with Escape the Night or being on set. Canceled podcast, Tana talked so negatively about how I honored my dad that it triggered me. I still deeply feel the loss of my dad, and for her and Brooke and Paige to put it out there that it was illegal, insinuating that I'm a criminal and that I was a cannibal, completely devastated me. Like, I thought Tana and I were friends. We've known each other for so many years. We've worked on projects together. I messaged.
I would just like to say I'm really the best, most top-notch, most accredited, unlicensed therapist on the face of the earth. What did I say at the very beginning of this? That's what this is about. Even trying to explain right now that you were hurt, it's too little too late, because you should never have made that other video. In fact, girlie, if it were me, I would take that shit the fuck down. I would take this down too. I would take both of these things, get them off of the internet. I mean, you can't, because people have already downloaded it and saved it and made files of it, so you can't sneaky delete it. But I would have gotten rid of both of these. I would have then just been a normal human being and had human contact. You don't need to go to the internet with all your fucking problems. That's what I'm trying to get at. Fuck, call somebody. Jesus, like, what's wrong with y'all? Now here you are again with another half-hour video complaining and telling everybody like you were really hurt about like this whole situation when you could have told her that. And you're still trying to stand by what you did as like, oh, well, I'm standing up for these other people. No, you're not. You're trying to use that as a cover for the fact that you were hurt. And that's okay that you were hurt. That's okay that your feelings were crushed. That's okay that your grief was still close to your heart and the way that she talked about it really hurt you. That's all right. But you can talk to her about it and not spend 2 hours with Casper, your man, bothering everybody and being mean and nasty. Because again, you're saying those people don't deserve it. You know what else they don't deserve is being used as cannon fodder for you to be able to do a takedown of Tana. She took everything that Tana said as literal. And then when she wants to talk about it, it's suddenly not literal anymore.
Sure, I have looked to her for advice. Like, I literally invited her to my nephew's birthday. Like, I have just never been through something like that. And I don't think that I've ever felt this upset. Like, I snapped. I'm gonna pause right here and just play some of the clips of her mocking me, calling me a cannibal, and reducing me to nothing more than a YouTuber who smoked her dead dad.
Like at 9:30 in the morning, I'm standing there like fully ready, like in a fucking gown.
But also Tana didn't call her a cannibal. This random lady here whom I don't know who she is. What do they call her? Paige? Pesica? I don't know why I said Pesica. That's not even a real name.
Against the law?
That's a cannibalism. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
She wants to talk about fact checking. She just said, here's clips of her mocking me and calling me a cannibal. You can be upset that she wasn't sensitive about how she spoke about your father and the passing and how you chose to honor that. And I respect that. What I don't respect is you spending 2 hours making a video trying to tear her down and take her down. What I don't respect is you making this video trying to explain why you were upset and that you were right, and trying to use all of these unknown people that, again, none of us are ever going to know who the fuck these people are. We're still not going to look. We're still not going to look. Like, congratulations. We're like so glad that you did all that work. Much respect to everybody who does work on a film. Like, there's so many people that you just like don't even know exist that make a movie happen beyond just like the actors and like whatnot. Don't appreciate you trying to use them as a shield for why you did this. You can have grief, you can be upset, but you can also be an adult and talk to the person who upset you instead of getting on the internet and doing this. I appreciate that, and that the way she talked about it wasn't great. She was using it for comedic effect. Not a great look. She should not have done such a thing. But you also should not have done this as retaliation.
About this, but for me, it crossed a line. That's my dad. When you're vulnerable and you open up and you share intimate details about your life with the public, like, you expect random people to be judgmental, but not your friends. It may not be something that they would do, but I wouldn't expect them to be mean or mock me. They were laughing at me and calling me a cannibal. A cannibal? I honestly don't understand why Tana didn't just talk to me like if I was annoying her instead of blasting it on the internet on multiple podcasts. She didn't just go on one podcast. She went on multiple podcasts and mocked me over and over and over again for views. She may not understand this, but people have been harassing me since I uploaded the first episode of my podcast. Just to give you guys an understanding of some of the judgmental comments that I have been receiving for months, I'm just going to play a clip right here. It's of these 3 guys. They have a podcast where they usually just talk about sports, but they took a break from talking about sports to shit all over me and say some of the meanest, judgmental, and just, it's beyond cruel. Like, some of the things that they said is like, my dad deserved to die and shit like that. Like, it's just like straight up evil.
To me, that's a little bit over the top. Why wouldn't you just like roll it up and smoke in his honor, I guess? I mean, one girl, we at your house, so I hope the authorities have have berated that studio and got taken care of that, yeah, you deserve to go to jail. This is a jail time thing for me. Really? Your jail time are 6 months under supervision of some authority. I just don't know how we got here. I just don't. At what point does it come to your head? You know what? When I die, smoke me. Daughter, smoke me.
That guy was a cult leader. 100%.
Some people are better off dead. I mean, it's just the truth. It might hurt some feelings, but they just are. Well, I mean, I just think.
So these men aren't the same as Tana. So what we're now seeing, she shared something deeply personal. And first of all, I wouldn't have shared something like that because it's the internet. I am going to say that. Because it's the internet and people are fucking assholes, men like this who talk about sports are a special kind of asshole. This looks like it's a cumulative effect of multiple people after she's posted this video trying to share something beautiful and how she honored her father, got mocked by a lot of people. And it wasn't just Tana. It's a whole stack of people saying this. And I think that sometimes you do have to remind yourself that this is the internet. And when you share shit on the internet, I'm not saying you deserve anything. I'm not saying that people should be mean to you. I'm not saying, oh, this is the internet, so you deserve it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you share things, you also have to truly be prepared for the ramifications of how fucked up people are when they can say whatever they want with anonymity. And if you're not prepared for that, and your grief is not in a place where you can handle that, make the video, save it for when it feels right, not when you're still raw. Because this is like really fucked up. Everybody involved in this who's saying like awful things, jail time. That's not okay, y'all. However people want to be honored in death, as long as it's within the law to do so, let them do so. It's not your place to like judge and be shitty. You maybe should have waited until you felt less raw to share that story. To me, you're still not at a place where these kind of comments and commentary on how you honored your father aren't gonna upset you. So maybe you should have waited until you were in a space where you could actually handle that. I'm not gonna let the clips keep playing because I don't think it's good to just keep listening to people be like fucking shitty to her.
Negative experiences on set, and I was a part of the negative experiences. Sorry, my dog is trying to find a seat. She's scratching around in her seat. This is why you have dogs. Sometimes they'll just like do silly things.
Side note, I think the thing that she's missing when Tana's talking about this, she did not say that the entire experience was negative. It was really only up until, again, I don't think her intention and how she spoke about it was meant to mock you. That is not the impact that it had on you, but I don't think that was her intent. That does suck. But I think that as an adult, we have to sometimes do adult things. We don't like it, but we have to sometimes be a fucking adult. And truly, I think that had you told Tana that upset you, Tana would not continue to talk about it. I think in that way she has matured. That's about as mature as I will give her. I think if you had the sense to like talk to her directly, like she wouldn't still be talking about it. Instead, you made that video, which was a wild thing to do.
Things and they'll make you laugh and like they'll turn a sad day into a good one. It's been a weird week and I just want to say thank you because I've seen thousands of comments on T channels that have been supportive of me and understanding of why I feel the way that I do. Even people who don't agree with everything that I say, they at least are being supportive and understanding of why I feel the way that I feel. Like, they get it. And I just want to say thank you because this just sucks. People are like, well, you made a video to talk about her. Yes, in response, because she did it first. A lot of Tana's followers who just follow her blindly through everything.
Yay, you did 3 loads of laundry? I'm so proud of you. Such a good egg. I told you that this was going to be long enough for you to get your laundry done. Every creator who gets to your size have people who will blindly follow you into the pits of hell because they are parasocialing that fucking hard. They are parasocialing so hard that they will in fact follow you into the fucking hard depths of hell and they don't care. But the thing is, you don't deal with this by behaving like this. You have to be an adult.
Everything that she does, they were saying, well, Tana wasn't mocking you. She didn't use you by name. What other famous YouTuber has done what I did? It's a very unique thing. It's not.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to laugh. It's just whenever a YouTuber calls themselves famous, I can't breathe. I can't handle it. It like fucks me up every time. They'll be like, what other famous YouTuber? I'm like, I had no idea who you were until like last, summerish? When was it when people started getting pissed off at Mr. Beast for real? That's what I heard of her. I'm YouTube famous now.
Beast!
Available.
Halloween 2025, the album. Dad, shimmy.
It's not hard to figure out. You know the tone, but you can see right through it. I'm not the only person who thought that this was messed up. There was other commentary channels who noticed it, clocked it, and said something. I'm gonna play a clip right here of one of them.
I don't think Rosana deserves the slander, okay? She was just trying to make some conversation.
Like, it's 9:30 in the morning and I'm downtown and this YouTuber is telling me about how they smoked their dead parent.
Is
And
that against the law? That's a cannibalism.
I don't know, June.
Okay,
And I'm just,
okay, all of you stop it. That's not a thing. It was touching, like it was a sweet gesture that she was... Cannibalism.
I did not like it. I understood the question, to be honest. Without knowing the context, it is actually a legitimate question. Welcome to class. I'm not excusing it, but I would also say that if you were just telling me that in private, I would actually be a person. Maybe I wouldn't ask it out loud. Maybe I would Google cannibalism to see. We have questions in life.
Do you know what cannibalism is? No, like ask Army.
I just wanted to explain a little bit of why that made me feel so upset, and I hope you guys have a better understanding of that. And I totally get that not everyone will understand.
No.
I actually agree with Trish. I just saw on her latest video that she posted that I don't want to make drama videos going back and forth and back and forth. Like, I reached out privately to Trish and apologized for anything that I said that upset her. I told her in my message that I thought she agreed with Tana about being illegal and a cannibal, and I thought they were sitting together and laughing and making fun of me on her podcast.
I walk in and I love it's 9 a.m. downtown LA and I haven't slept for an hour and she's telling me about how she just and I podcast about this and all the comments like she's talking about never do that. She's lying. I'm like, why? Where do you people get off? Yeah, I would make that up.
I have a text that says that. She texted me that she was doing. Yeah.
But after hearing Trish's response, I believe her. I believe that she wasn't judging me or making fun of me. I'm not upset with Trish. I am upset with Tana. I also told Trish that I was sorry to hear about what happened to her downtown LA because I didn't know that information.
So you forgive Trish, but okay. Girl, you should, these phone calls should have happened earlier. I'm gonna just try to get to minute 16 because Girly Pop, if I go look at the transcript, it's a lot of her just being like, these are people's livelihoods and you're talking about them poorly and I don't like that. And
those haters who I'm now following, that's why. Honestly, my team does a lot of my social media, and when I do it, it's usually a disaster. Another thing that I want to say is that I do agree with a lot of people saying that we should work on our relationship in private. I have a really large Italian family, and we get into fights and disagreements sometimes, which is challenging, but I am not one to throw away a relationship over a disagreement or a miscommunication. Like Trish said, we are closer friends off camera than we are on camera. We hang out more privately because our friendship is not focused on business or views. That's not what I care about. I hope that she knows that if she needed anything, even right now, I would be there in a heartbeat. I also keep it real with my friends. Like, if I'm with a friend at a restaurant and they're having a bad day and they snap at a waitress, I'm that girl who's gonna tell them like, hey, that's not cool, knock it off, and you need to apologize. And I'm also that friend to give them a big hug and show compassion because I can.
But you're not a friend. You're a friend who sees deep down inside. And when you're hurt, you don't call somebody and just tell them, hey, you hurt my fucking feelings, fam. I saw your video. What the fuck? This is a wound that has not healed enough for you to joke about that. I'm not ready to laugh because I get how that can be weird. When she gets over the hump, right, and starts getting less into the part that I can barely breathe past the pain part because that shit sucks. And if you haven't experienced grief, the closest thing I can liken it to is when you hit your shin or your tiny pinky toe on something and your pinky toe slides to the side, or you hit that part of your shin where it feels like it dents in and you can't suck in a breath for a minute. You're like, and you kind of can't fucking breathe. That's what grief feels like. When you get past that part, you might actually be able to laugh at some of that. I'm not saying you will. I'm not saying it makes it okay. I'm just saying that there are things in life that maybe we can't laugh at the time. And maybe you never will. Maybe you will never find a point where you find it funny. And you should tell her that. And instead you made a 2-hour, like a damn near 2-hour takedown. You did a whole ass documentary calling her a dumb, shallow man hater, and you want me to believe you're a friend. I can't believe that you were a friend at this point. None of my friends, if I hurt their feelings, even if it takes them a minute, they're going to tell me that I hurt their feelings. And I'll be like, you know what? I didn't think about it from that perspective. I apologize. All you had to do was tell her that. Do you know she could have just taken that part out? She could have also later come back and made a video and just said like, hey, you know, now that everybody knows Escape the Night is back, like da-da-da-da-da. I would like to make, an apology to Rosana. I really did not mean to be flippant about, your father's passing. To me at the time, like I just, for comedic effect, I used the story that you told me and I should not have done that. I did not realize or think about how that could harm you. And for that, I'm sorry. And that would have been it. But what you did was like, girl, it was 100 times worse. In your robe, no less. Like you couldn't even be bothered to get dressed for that drag? Okay.
You can see that they're going through something. I don't hate people for making mistakes. I love my friends, but I don't allow them to mistreat people. And that's on all sides. Like Trish in a response video asked, why do I need to insert myself? I spoke up about Tana slandering innocent crew members. Just like I would stand up against a friend punching down at a waitress. Like I'm going to stand up for someone punching down on innocent crew members. I'm not going to say.
Just a quick delineation between the innocent crew members and the waitress. The waitress is somebody who you're looking at. Other people are looking at as well, watching your friend be shitty to. We are all visually in there and you see this happen. Crew members, respect, much respect, but most people aren't going to see it. And from what I can tell, Tana was not outwardly mean or nasty to any of these people. And again, in order to cover and put a sheath over the absolute venom, vitriol, and nastiness that you and Mike decided to spew her way, you're using these people as your shield for that. And that's gross. You can just say you're fucking sorry. You don't care for people. You're not an adult. You're not a professional, because this is not fucking professional. Just thought I'd let you know, since you were the one who kept talking about being professional.
Stand for it. Two wrongs don't make a right. It was wrong what happened to Tana on that set. It was also wrong for her to slander innocent members of that crew. And it hurts me to see Trish upset. I hate that. Like, in her response when she started talking about Colleen,
Three wrongs don't make a right.
He knows that I did not know about Colleen's behavior in any way or participate. The shit she was doing pissed me off. Colleen hid that from me because I am the friend who would say something and say that that's fucked up. Colleen lied to me by keeping her true character very private. This whole thing sucks, and I really want Trish to know that I had no idea about her history with downtown LA. I just reacted to what I saw, how they were talking about downtown LA. I just call it like I see it. I had no idea about her bad experiences and what she went through. If I would have known that, then I wouldn't have thought that was a snotty comment. And that's the only mean thing I said about Trish. I thought the comment was snotty. And now
so now you have context. So you did not give context to Tana to fix the situation. This shit is wild. Listen, let me see if people are buying this shit. I'm curious. I agree with others that this should have been the original response. You let your emotions get the better of you, and it made the issue way worse because y'all were debunking. You were attacking it and was so uncomfortable to watch. It was rude and mean-spirited, which no one deserved. The right thing to do would be to take that episode down. That is what I'm gonna say too. And everybody keeps saying this situation should have been handled offline. And somebody even came in and asked the same question that I asked. Quick question. Would what Tana said actually hurt the employee's livelihood if she never said their name? Because the only person I really know is associated is Joey, and she talked really positively about it. Nobody's buying it. The best one that I'm going to read, and then I'm going to wrap this up. You're valid for being upset about what was said, but what you're asking me to do in this video is to understand the way you communicated based on your emotions, to look at you not as the perfect victim, but as a human. If you just talked about your experience with Tana in your first video about how you felt, you wouldn't be getting approached this harshly. Instead, you discredited her and critiqued her for not being a perfect victim. Your feelings can exist in the same space as hers, but the way that first video was toned was that only your feelings got to exist. I have compassion for the difficulty of grief and your feelings, but what you did to discredit almost every single statement she made is exactly why women have struggled to be heard for decades. Because one wrong or not perfect statement and their whole argument is brought into question. Even if you do believe her, you're making her do the work for you to view her story as valid, when her story is exactly that, hers. And your story, like this video, gets to be yours. Go off, queen, but please recognize the double standards that might be taken from the situation. Feminism is nuanced, and we all need to be constantly assessing all those tiny details between the big obvious stuff. Your feelings are valid and your story is valid, but so is hers. Even if she isn't saying all the right things. You can say I had some problems with what she said, but the attention needs to be on standing by a survivor, not on anything else right now. And no one would have swayed from you. Not everyone handles stressful things the same way, and expecting them from everyone takes us back years. Bars. And so, at the end of this long ass video where your laundry should not only be washed, dried, and in the dryer, what have we learned today, kids? Class is in session. When will these people who live their lives online learn the importance of being able to have a conversation offline? All of this could have been resolved because I don't think Tana's an unreasonable bitch. I do think that Tana would have addressed the issue in the following podcast and been nice and apologized had you just contacted her. You need to recognize that the steps that you took, Rosana, are fucking weird. Y'all sat there. You and Mike sat together. You put up a camera. You put together audio and all of that stuff. You filmed that. Considering you had to cut it, I wouldn't be surprised if that was like 3 hours of footage. And then you edited this down and you put it up on your channel. You made a thumbnail. You did all of this shit. You had fucking sponsors in that. You made that a sponsored video, which is why she can't take it down, by the way. She's not going to take it down because it's a sponsored video. You made that a sponsored video. You're sitting here saying you don't want to go back and forth. You made a video in which you attacked someone and discredited the sexual harassment that they received, the pain that they experienced. You made that video with God knows how many sponsors because I got tired of seeing them. Speaking of which, this video is not sponsored by Bean Boozled for when you want to have a good time. Where you get a good bean or a bad bean? Jelly Belly. You spent your time doing that. You made an effort and you filled it full of sponsorships, and you want me to watch this video of you trying to take this down and be like, I'm really sorry, like, but Tana is still who I'm upset with. You're gonna forgive Trish, but you're not gonna forgive Tana. Girl, I think you need to take several seats. You need to take a lot of deep breaths. And being an adult, which you've made mention of, being an adult means having those hard conversations with people in person to them. Not being an adult is this bullshit YouTube thing that a lot of y'all keep thinking is cute. It's not cute. It's weird. All you had to do was have a conversation with her. Because it's very clear and obvious. If you go watch the Cancel podcast, that in no way was Tana deliberately trying to degrade or harm Rosana. And if she had been told by Rosana via phone call, via text, all I gotta say is like, Rosana, are you okay? Would you tell us if you're okay? With the sound of the window and it struck you a crescendo, Rosana. You've been struck by the cloud gobbling. Da 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 da. Ow! And that's it. If you like this video, subscribe, I guess. I don't have any new goals on what I'm going to go to. It's really uncomfortable and stressful for me to make a new goal. I won't hit it. So it'll make me feel uncomfortable. I'll call myself a failure. That's who I am as a person. It's the perfection. Like this video, subscribe, comment below. Also, another thing that I would like to just quickly say before I leave is like, thank you, all of you who told me about braiding the hair of the melanatedly challenged. I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much for taking that as it was intended, which was I was actually curious, and I thank you all for your responses. I had such a good time reading those. So thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, I am so pretty and so are you.